Yeah, I like just for like informational purposes and research, and like people on Discord are always sharing stuff with me. God, my search history is insane. All the weird goofball shit. People are sending me cartel videos. Here's
Yeah.
my problem with cartel videos, okay? Like we've all seen one or two in our time
Right, of
on
course,
this
of course.
horrific planet. How do you feel about uh, what's the word I'm looking for? What do you say when someone sends you a dick pic that you didn't want? It's a
Unsolicited.
unsolicited. That's what I'm looking for. How do you feel about unsolicited
cartel video?
How do you feel about unsolicited cartel videos? Because
I'm not
I've got
interested.
someone. I'm not interested either. I'm frankly upset by it. I have,
They're a different level of shit.
Yeah.
dude. There's a guy on my Discord who I've known for quite some time, and he lives part time in Mexico. He owns some properties in Mexico. And one time, a while back, he was like, "Hey, look, I found some severed heads in my backyard. Looks like the cartel got them." And it's a bunch of rotten human heads in his backyard. They looked like potatoes at first glance. It was bizarre, and we were all like, "Dude, we really don't." That's upsetting. You know, we
Yeah,
don't
like we
seeing-
really didn't need to be like, all right, cool.
I mean, we really prefer it when we just kind of like lightheartedly joke about the cartel and you and all that. We don't need it to get real because you just sent us cell phone photos that you just now took. He's like, no, I'll go show you right now. Let me go. Click, 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 click.
Yeah, it's like cognitive
Forward
dissonance.
to Kyle.
Like you're like when you joke when you joke about it, there's like a level of protection between you and the thing that's real. That's the
now
joke
my
right
number's
there.
in his phone, and he's sending me cartel
sending you
stuff.
these fucking.
Now the cartel has his phone.
You have
I'll be
evidence.
honest. I haven't heard from him in about 3 months.
He's dead. Dead.
I haven't seen. I won't say it. You know, whatever, Mr. Mex. It's close enough. In the Discord in quite some time. I'm a little concerned. Dude used to play PUBG a lot. Hadn't seen him lately. Maybe he went back down to Mexico. But last time I did hear from him, unsolicited cartel videos. People getting burnt alive and cut up and chainsawed, and like, you know, they take the face off and the fingers and they display them like it's some sort of like crab thing with the face on top. They make it really...
those are like the weird ones. Like, well, I'm okay. None of them are normal, but the ones where like they don't just put the head there, they'll like have the feet to the side and then like the hands in the front, and then it's just a face peeled back like the top of a pudding, and they just lay it there on the pavement, and it's just a fucking human face laying there looking with dead eyes, like it. Well, no eyes rather. Like it's. They're very, very fucking scary.
I can tell you that there's, during the stint of growing up where everybody's like, when you're 15, 16, 17, like, I am desensitized. I promise you, I have ran the gauntlet and back, and like, I feel good. The one video that always, not even always, I saw it once and it's burned into my memory. And there was like maybe it was like Ukraine or whatever. There's a couple of these types of videos, but this guy got beheaded, like, very much so live, and just it was just terribly brutal. It was, the knife was not sharp enough nor big enough. And I was like, this is just the worst thing that I have ever accidentally stumbled upon, and I will actively avoid doing this ever again. And so all of those things just bother me, and the cartel are way too good at what they do to like make it a spectacle instead of like, this guy got beheaded. You already know that this was just an incredibly, as painless as a beheading could be, it was the exact opposite of that. So it's just like very uncomfortable.
Dude, if I'm gonna get beheaded by a mafia, I want it to be the Yakuza, because they'll use a super sharp katana.
Oh yeah, katana,
and it'll just be like, I'll be looking back up at my body, falling over, and I'll be like, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought. Will be my last
like,
thought.
Wow, it just really sucks.
Yes.
Versus like, yeah, just like 30 seconds of it happening.
Have you seen or read those like old stories when they used to like guillotine people in France? And it's like, noted researcher Francois fucking Lepew asked Mary Duke of Richmond to blink twice after she was beheaded, and then like the extent of the trying to figure it out was like literally they chop her head off, and real quick fucking Pierre runs over and grabs it, and like he'll see like blinking there, and it's like, oh well, I guess there's a little bit of brain activity.
Like it makes sense, right? Like you as a human can understand that if you're severing your head, unless like for whatever reason, it just immediately knocks you out or whatever. Like your brain does not die immediately. That's like why if your heart stops beating, it's not like, all right, well, that's it, boys. Like pack it up, call it a day. You have enough stuff. But if you don't go into shock, if you don't, go unconscious, whatever it is, I don't know if we're ever gonna figure this out without like in like a lot of testing, or I don't even know how you do this, but like you're alive in my mind for at least enough time to know, fuck, my head did just get cut off, and then you're dead, right? Like there's enough time to be like, God damn it.
Yeah, and like like what is there to gain from that research?
Like, well, I guess we know now. It's like I guess we know.
Oh, Chiz, I think it was the Soviets, actually. I know the video you're talking about. Like, there's that creepy video. I think it was Soviets back in the day who, like, beheaded a dog, and there's just a dog head laying on, like, a metal operatory, like, rolling table like you'd see in the hospital, and it's plugged in to, like, a bunch of different, whatever the fuck, medical machines, and it's, like, a dog, like not quite breathing, but like it's alive, and it's just the head of a dog laying there, being kept alive by these like Soviet
Futurama
machines.
Stuff. Yeah,
it would be like, I can't imagine a more horrifying existence for a dog than that, or for a human. If I'm ever just a head, kill me.
Yeah, I mean, just like
unless I get a cool robot body that I can enact my will upon weak mortals with. That would be cool.
Oh, I was gonna say so. I mentioned on PKN this week that my friend Big Mex that I play PUBG with, he was telling us while we were playing, he's like, yeah, so I own some properties down here in Mexico, went out in the backyard yesterday, count them, 2 human heads in my backyard, fresh human heads, disembodied human heads, fresh human heads in my backyard. And we were like, what? That's fucked, man. And I believed him, but it was like, maybe he's just pulling my leg. He's like, you guys want to see pictures? And we were like, no, we don't. But then I mentioned it to Woody, and he's like, what? I'd love to see some pictures of some human heads. So those have been forwarded to you, Woody. I don't know if you've checked them out yet, but if you open your email right now, you could look at those human heads live on the show.
I don't think he said. I've been on top of my email. And I don't have any
it's Chiz posted right there the particular email they were sent to. I don't want to say it out loud,
Okay, thank you for that. Let me see.
But they were sent to Chiz, and Chiz forwarded the pictures of the human heads onto you. They are good luck.
I do not want to see the human heads.
Well,
I've seen
that's
too
a
many
bummer.
human heads on the internet.
Their souls will never go to the afterlife now.
Is that what the Native Americans thought?
Yes.
Who is this guy?
He's a guy I play video games with online. I don't actually know him or anything. I know him as Big Mex. I imagine he's a large Mexican man. But he found some human
he's
heads.
part of our whack pack. He's Cartel Carlos. He brings his own heads.
Go home. I got all kind of body parts. You want to see body parts? I got them.
If I wouldn't be really that chill if 2 body parts, not even heads, showed up anywhere around my home.
Well,
I'd be like, they didn't just leave this here on accident. They had the wherewithal to get rid of the rest of the bodies. So
oh no!
Clearly, this is here left for a reason.
The rest of the body was apparently strewn down the highway a bit at a time. So he explained that. He said that basically the cartel was a lot like the Italian mafia. How they weren't just senseless, violent, evil people necessarily. Okay, they often had a purpose in their violence, a bit of method to the madness, if you will. And in this instance, these gentlemen were thieves. And the first time they were caught thieving, they would lose a finger or several fingers or even a hand. But this was the second or third time that these 2 had been caught. And so they were completely disembodied, and the heads were left there. The torsos a bit farther down the road, and like the hands, just they were scattered about, strewn down the
Kyle, tell your friend to send me more pictures. I can't make heads or toes out of this thing here. It really looks like 2 gigantic sliced up baked potatoes, and they fill most of a pickup truck bed. They're still in the pickup truck bed, and I just don't see faces in it.
How do 2 heads fill most of a pickup truck?
Well, you're in luck. I'll send it on to you.
Okay.
I want to see it now. Come
Here,
on.
just tweet it out, and I'll see it.
I'm not
I'll give
exactly
you
sure
an
how to
RT.
say this.
We can both get suspended.
Holy shit, man. Yeah, he told me a story about some other guy who was apparently like some semi-famous Mexican singer, and he had slept with a cartel member's wife, and they let it slide the first time, but he slept with her again, and they caught him, and so they cut his dick off, shoved it in his mouth, and shot him. So
They let it slide the first time?
right, because he's a famous. I was like, they let it slide. He's like, well, he's like a famous singer, and like the bosses were like, hey, just let's let it slide one time. Like I guess
I'm
they
a
like
regular person, and I might have killed him.
Well, you're regular.
Well, then Chiz, then let's not put them in the chat if these pictures are fucking graphic as fuck, to quote Chiz.
Too late. They're uploading. I sent them a while ago. I just have a bad.
That was so upsetting. Chiz, is this going to put me in a sour mood?
No, come on.
It's nothing.
I'm totally joking. It's fine.
It's
It's all good. We've watched some
Brian
terrible
Sinker.
things here. I have seen much worse than this. I hope they at least ate the rest of the parts. Leave nothing to waste. Very difficult to survive.
I imagine you as you do that accent so well that I think you're almost at a Robert Downey Jr. level where you could go blackface and do that accent, and just as long as you smile a lot, it's not racist.
Oh, like with like the head bobbing. Oh, we are just happy for you to be here. Like with that, like you're the guy in like the have you ever gone to like Jamaica or something like that? Like this is not a Jamaican accent, obviously.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
There's always like that like dude who clearly is not just hanging around the resort, who clearly lives in some corrugated tin roof shack nearby, but he has to have that giant smile on, the whole time. Fuck. These the pictures?
You got the pictures?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Woody!
Don't they look like just giant baked potatoes?
Woody?
in a
That's
picture
their
truck bed?
torso, all
Yeah.
sliced up, torture style.
I'm trying to see head in this thing.
No, but the heads are cut off.
These are the
I thought we-
torsos.
I
And
also-
then
to be
there's a
fair to Woody,
sign-
I also
I don't
thought
even
we were
see
getting
arms or
heads
legs.
They've been cut off as well.
Well, it's hard to identify just a big. There's no nipples.
Yeah, I guess I'll download it. All right,
Arms
let's
are
get a
off and
closer
nipple.
look.
Jesus Christ, those
They're-
are incredibly graphic.
They're straight up baked potatoes. I don't even see human in this.
What he means by that is that their flesh is the color of a baked potato because A, they're Mexican, and B, they have decomposed to some extent, but they are covered in these long, deep slashes, and they are just a torso in the back of a
Well,
truck.
don't-
So,
So that,
the,
that when
the
you cook them,
slashes
they
are-
don't pop.
yeah, that's right. You know how you punch the holes in a baked potato before you...
microwave.
Yeah, same exact thing here. Yeah, they're in a back of a truck, and I don't speak Spanish, nor do I read it. So I don't know what those signs say, but I'm just going to throw a wild guess out, and they probably say something like, this is what happened to thieves around here, or something
look
like
at
that. Like.
look at the cuts on their backs. They form letters.
It's funny. I don't speak Spanish, but I do read it. Esto España, los que apoyo a los It's get a little fuzzy.
Claros.
Playeron and Apara Zinan, and then the rest is too fuzzy. I don't know.
God knows what you just said.
Yeah,
God
I don't know either, but I
But
swear I
he's
can
summoning the
pronounce
cartels
Spanish.
to his home.
He's saying, this is a message for the cartel boss.
These are the poster boards
I
that
fucked
these
your
two
daughter.
gentlemen.
My name is Woody. Like, that's what it translates to. This
What
is
if
all-
it translates to like, these are the poster boards that these two were holding up, threatening the cartel before we cut their heads and limbs off and carved.
cartel on this. We have no beef with them, and we don't want them to come hunt us down and murder us. I mean, Woody might. I can't
want the
speak.
cartel
It depends on
to
what he
beat
read.
with ISIS and see where that goes.
I mean, geography might be a difficult play there, but aside from that, ISIS has been so wiped out. Like you gotta say the cartel would fucking trounce them. Like it wouldn't be close, like the drug money they have. Or then again, ISIS has got that Iran money.
Yeah, ISIS has money, and there's still thousands of them.
But there's way more than thousands of cartel members because there's way more than one cartel, right? Like there's. I know all of this from Narcos, and that was Colombia, so I'm making some assumptions. But
Good coffee. I got some coffee called Igniter or something like that. It has twice the amount of caffeine as normal coffee. It is really getting me fired up over here. I'm definitely feeling it. I feel like I'm vibrating a little.
How long has Ben been gone? And what percentage of the show has been?
Appropriate amount of time.
He's like 50-50.
He said he was.
I was looking at the dead bodies. I didn't notice.
Yeah, that's a hard 29.
Well, I mean, he's like.
I'm here.
He may have just been working through
I
some
was taking
dysentery. Yeah, that you got. that dirty water that you dipped in.
I was surfing today, and I think I swallowed a turd. And oh God, the note is sitting well.
I was letting you guys work through that one. I have a pretty wide envelope, but whew.
Yeah,
Really? You didn't hang with that? I thought you'd be right there with us.
Was it the Mexican Cartel or the?
For the dead bodies.
he didn't want to offend the cartel. That's what this was all about.
No, we show respect to the cartel.
Yes,
You know.
yes, we do.
They sell
How
lots
bad?
of drugs.
How bad is it?
It's
The image? Well, they're right here for your viewing
No,
pleasure.
no, not the image. The cartel.
pretty
Oh.
bad. You know,
Well, I
that's-
mean, like,
Cartel?
look up dismembered people cartel in
Look
Google.
up people made into salads.
Because
They literally do that. They chop up people and then they put like heads of lettuce and tomatoes.
Yeah, and they feed them to their family.
That part I think is fake.
I made that up, but that might just not have made it to the news.
I made that up. Because
they get creative though. That's
I've been to Mexico a bunch of times, and I guess obviously right over the border, it's not too bad. An hour or two into the board in surfing, because Baja, Mexico is like pretty minor. People act like it's California.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tijuana is really close to the border, and isn't it really dangerous?
I'm sure it's pretty gnarly, but I mean, I know people that go there to party, so I don't know.
I know people that go there for surgery.
Yeah, I do too.
We had a friend who was considering, I'm sure you're aware that, like, you can get like dental work in Mexico done like really cheaply. And I've heard of people going to like Costa Rica and getting dental work done and all kinds of stuff like that. It's a third the price, a quarter the price, shit like that. And if you need like a full, sometimes dental work can be $40,000. Well, our friend was intending, he's not going to do it anymore, but he was going to go get this weight loss surgery down there. And it was like all inclusive, $5,000. It was like, we pick you up from the airport. We put you up in the beautiful Ramada and we cut you apart and then send you right back home. And it was, he was going to die. He was just going to die.
Why'd he bail?
Because he was going to die. And we convinced him that he was going to die, I think. So now he's going to get
did he say, like, is that the reason he's not going to do it anymore? Because he heard us, or maybe did some research on his own and was like, it seems like risky business.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I doubt he's crediting us, but I would say, maybe he did some of his own personal research. He got enough of his fans like coming at him, be like, dude, just save up an extra, $15,000 and get that shit done in the US of A. That way you don't get septic on a Mexican highway somewhere and dumped in the ditch or something like that.
When did he say, Kyle, do you know that he's not going to do it anymore?
He said on stream. No, he said on stream a while back that he was going to like continue saving up so that he'd get the American surgery. I think he found somewhere that would do the American surgery a bit cheaper than the $24,000 he had been quoted originally. Somewhere like, if I remember correctly, it's in the teens. $15,000, $17,000 or something to get that surgery, and you get to keep your belly button.
You get to keep your belly button, and it's no longer distended.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely worth it. It's save up the extra $15,000 in lieu of like a good chance of dying, because like remember the sites we were looking at for the weight loss stuff there?
Yeah,
like it seemed reputable, but if they're telling you to get in and out in 4 days, it's because they've got a bunch of other Americans coming in to do the exact same surgery, and they're probably not quite as extreme a case.
Yeah, man. It was only 1 day rest, and then you're back on a car, like driving to San Diego on a plane and out. I just pictured him in that airport in San Diego after they've dropped him off, just in incredible pain or doped up on medication, whatever they gave him. Probably some extremely strong narcotic. It's a giant hole they were going to cut in.
But how big is that surgery, right? Like women have C-sections in their home the next day.
Yeah, in America. With normal, body fat levels, right? Like he's, not to be shitty, and I'm not picking on him or anything, but he's got a lot of fat to cut through. You've seen how big his belly is. The incision would cut through, even if it were only a 4-inch incision, right? That's a incision that's 4 inches deep or 4 inches wide and a foot deep. Like there's at least
a foot deep, yeah.
A foot?
I guess.
At least a foot. Come on,
or maybe
green.
Yeah, a foot, maybe. I don't know. I'm having a difficult time picturing a cross section, like my spatial reasoning, like trying to move this in my head, like a foot.
Yeah.
He's not a trapezoid. He's a sphere. Come on, you've seen him.
Are the organs out by the skin, or is it
they're
fat
deep inside?
All the way through it?
If you ask,
yeah, he's marbled.
If you ask me at gunpoint, because this is revealing at how little we all know about what's inside going on here. Aside from lungs and heart. If you said, "Where's your heart?" I'd be like, "I'm fucking here." "Where's your lungs?" Right there, ish. And then if they said, "All right, show me where are your kidneys?" Pass. Kidney. Yeah.
Anyway, Mexican cosmetic surgery tourism. That is what brought 4 Americans to Mexico last week, and only 2 of them lived to tell their tale. Because
what's the story?
A Mexican drug cartel picked the 4 of these folks up, threw them in a truck, and beat 2 of them to death or shot them or something, and then beat the 3rd within an inch of their life. They got recovered. They're back stateside. And today, the cartel drops off 5 dudes, beaten bloody, tied up with a sign next to them with an apology to the United States. Oh. It says, "These are the 5 people who fucked," I'm paraphrasing, fucked up. "We did not tell them to do that. They were acting on their own accord against our rules. Here they are. Do with them as you will. We are sorry for all of this. It won't happen again."
A little PR statement.
On a big board. And then, and I'm telling you, it's 5 dudes zip tied face down on the asphalt, laying there. Their asses have clearly been whooped quite severely.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was one of the coolest. It was like something out of a movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Cartel does not want attention.
The takeaway is now Mexico is safe.
I think Mexico was already safe for us. I'll say this, Woody. This doesn't. I think Mexico is safer today than it was last week for American tourists going down there. It's the same thing as when in Atlanta at Whitewater, our water park, this kid shit in the pool. Right? He shit all in the pool, diarrhea style, and got a ton of people sick with E. coli. They nuked that place from outer space with chlorine. The next week was the best time ever to go. So I think right now, super safe to go down. The cartels told everybody, leave the Americans alone, or you'll end up like, Pablo, Hector, and the gang.
You could run your mouth out down there. You can just go, what's up, fucking hombres? Fuck you, fuck the cartel, suck my cock, fuck your mom. And they're like, God damn, this son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Diplomatic community, motherfuckers.
You can go down there like Johnny Mexican, America. Right? You can wear your cowboy hat, your American flag jacket, and just be a piece of shit.
Yeah, Dick, do you speak Spanish? You can go down there and be a little liaison. Talk to the cartel.
I don't speak very much Spanish.
I speak enough Spanglish to get us out of some trouble, right? How do you say, we're sorry, no more? That'd be easy. You get that done.
Me totani.
No más. No la cabeza. No. Necesito mi cabeza.
What's cabeza?
Head.
Your head. Yeah. I knew that one.
I need my head. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's you can imagine the cartel doesn't want attention from the U.S. government. And so you can easily see them being like, you did what? You fucking retard. All right, well, tie these people up, take them to the border. Hope we don't get fucked with.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I bet somebody will die over this. I bet more people will die over this. I think it gets serious when that sort of thing happens.
What was the reason for the kidnapping and the killing? Did they?
I think they intended to ransom and rob but things got out of hand. That was my interpretation. But
What
it
was the
happened like 2
nature
days
of
ago.
the cosmetic surgery they wanted? Do we know that?
See, that's what I wanted. I will say this: they were black people. I noticed that.
Were they fat?
I was seeing it from like CTV footage, and it was kind of far away, and I couldn't really tell. It was a little blurry. You could just tell black from brown. That was kind of how I was telling what was even happening.
It'd be fun to
acid
zoom in on them,
plants,
and
right?
we could guess by what we think they need. Like this
they-
guy's for
Wait.
This
What do
guy
you mean?
need hair plugs. Like,
Oh, I see. I thought you meant like how. Okay, that
Were
makes
they
sense.
there for? So they were there for surgery.
More of a eugenic sort of approach. But
oh no!
No, I think
know,
Woody was nice and innocent.
No.
More of a hair plug joke.
when you say they, yeah, that wouldn't
Yeah.
make any sense. No, I would. I think that's. I've looked at the
sucks.
prices before. I know we did some research whenever Wings was getting his gastric bypass surgery or sleeve, I should say, and Boogie, I think maybe with the teeth. We did some research at just how affordable it is down there, and it is pretty nuts. It's like, yeah, this
pretty
makes
sure
sense.
The Boogie T story is an American doctor.
It is.
Saw his problem and offered to give it to him for free in exchange for advertising.
Yeah,
I think that's how that went down.
you're spot on with that. You
Yeah.
are. But I think at the time, like because of that, I was doing research about Jesus. All right, what if we just go to Mexico instead? Could we do that rather than advertise our bloody gums on the internet for money?
It'd be funny.
Yeah, Boogie's way is funnier.
Ole!
Kyle, you turned me onto a forum a long time ago, but you probably remember what it's called. It's like all these plastic surgeries with horrible outcomes. Like they're
Oh.
just
Is it a subreddit?
totally ruined. Yeah,
Botched.
Surgeries.
botched surgeries. I need to look at that again because it's such an unrealistic way to look at plastic surgery, to literally seek out and go like badplasticsurgery.com. But oh my God, how could you see someone else's ass giving into necrosis and then be like, no, yeah, I do want to save the 11 grand. I'm gonna pursue this.
Mm.
Well,
Have you
I'd
seen those
like to
pictures
know.
where like the flesh is rotting?
but I didn't
Yeah.
associate it with like other country and less expensive medical care. Like,
Oh, I definitely do. I feel like
You
the
might be
U.S. probably
right.
isn't doing that, or maybe they just
oh,
keep it under
I-
wraps better. I don't know.
And I've seen enough Hollywood celebrities to know that bad plastic surgery happens in America.
Yeah, but
So
like the bad ones in
I-
America that you can see is like that lady's lips look so unnatural and terrible, and how could she have done that to herself? She looks ridiculous. The ones you see
Again.
from like Brazil is like this woman is losing her lower left leg, like because of a blood infection or some shit.
Yeah.
Disgusting. If you
Pretty
guys were to
cool.
get one procedure, what would you do?
I want a third arm. I mean, I feel like
Any
and that's why you
procedure
have
that
to go
doesn't
to another
exist,
country. No, they're going to
Where do you
attach
get
my
the third
rib
one,
cage
murderer?
to my rib cage like Goro. And now that I have a third arm, I'll
Goro
be able
has
to
four
work
arms. You're
with
not
my
even going
new
all
arm.
the way.
Yeah,
I
pussy.
can't afford it. Okay, I'm going to be honest. They're
Give me
$500,000
a half a
each.
Goro, Doc.
I'm leveraged. All right, with the third arm though, I'll be able to earn the fourth arm and go full Goro.
Over time,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Parlay it. Okay, two non-functional shitty arms. I
They
think.
work. They work.
Skin flaps.
They absolutely work. I'll be able to do. Oh my god! Imagine the double dumbbell rows. Holy shit! I'll
You'd
look
be
like a huge, like a.
You'll be the talk of the gym.
You'd need to.
You could just get
All right,
fake arms caught with like hinges. On sew some new sleeves on your shirt, like the Jackson 5 guys.
Anchor
Like a
arms.
spider Halloween costume.
Yeah. It's a whole new workout I do. It's called the Goro workout. You lift twice as much weight, and it looks awesome.
And they get mad if you do it at the mall. Like
I need 2 spotters for this bench. Okay, how much is on the lower bench?
you're spending twice as much on gym equipment.
I've always wanted to get hair plugs on my penis. Do you
The
think they
penis
do
itself?
that?
Like on the head of it.
cover it. So like the whole thing looks like Cousin
Just-
It from the Addams Family.
This is
You
a
could.
great idea.
Yeah, you absolutely could. Have you seen those people like maybe in China or probably India? India has a lot of it. Like with that disease where they grow hair out of everywhere.
Yes,
They're
I
called
had
like
seen
wolf
that.
people, and they're like their nose grows hair, their eyelids grow hair. I bet they've got dick hair. So it's
Are they called
possible.
wolf people? Taylor?
That is what they're. That is
called?
that is the preferred nomenclature. Yes. They don't have a lobby, so it doesn't matter. there's like 6 of them, and they're just howling somewhere in the woods.
What would you guys get?
I'd get that Chinese surgery to get like 7 inches taller, where they shatter my legs.
Oh, dude, I know.
I want to be
I know a
6'7".
Yeah, this guy who called into my show
chins.
did that. He went to India, and he was there for like 8 months, or maybe it wasn't that long. I don't know if it was 8 weeks or months, but he got like 3 inches on his height, and now I see it on Instagram all the time. These before and afters of doctors. I assume in LA, they put this huge screw, this like long metal rod that has a screw in it, and it always separates all day with some kind of magnetic system. Like they crank it every day to grow your bones. It's really fucking wild, man.
It seems painful.
Terrible.
Yeah, it seems like it's like medieval torture.
I would want a surgery that's a little easier to recover from than the growth surgery.
Yeah.
And so the first thing that pops into my head, liposuction. Like, oh man, fucking carve out those abs. It's so hard to get the kind of abs that I desire. And like every so often I'll visit like adjacent to really ripped. Like my abs now are what I call emerging abs. Like they're like,
you got abs, man.
I have abs, but they could be squarer, right? And sometimes when I'm almost there, like you know, they're really showing through. But to get like that bottom part, the last 2 of the 6-pack, I like a solid 4-pack and then a 5th one that's combined by the belly button. But the thing is, liposurgery is incredibly painful to recover from. I think it's less painful to lose that last bit of body fat than it is to have the surgery. My wife had facial cosmetic surgery, like, I don't know, September, something like that. And one of the things she did, she had fat grafted into her face. So it turns out as you age, you get like skinnier below your eyes, and to make yourself more youthful, they put that back. All right, cool. Well, the donor site was like her hips or something, and that was the worst part of the recovery. Like that hurt her for 8 weeks later, or something
How
like
did
that.
How did it turn out? She got fat from her hips put under her eyes?
Yeah, it turned out great. Yeah.
Wow.
It looks good. Every so often I look at it, I'm like, you look really pretty. Like it catches my attention. Yeah.
I hope you say that out loud.
I do, yeah.
I'd
And
like to get some cheek fat removal. I could be a donor. Like I got big
to
old
everyone,
chubby cheek.
every woman on earth, like Genghis Khan. They've all got Taylor's cheek fat in them.
Yeah, and I just keep replenishing more with my diet. It's an infinite supply.
And obviously that's going to like get 911 called.
Yeah.
And that's when, what are they called? BorTech showed up, which is like the A team of America. And they tracked him down and smoked him out.
I've never heard of BorTech. Is that a government organization?
Yeah. It comes from the word border, but BorTech, they work on the border. But like if we got invaded by aliens, BorTech would show up. It's these awesome Navy SEAL superheroes with like long beards and fucking night vision goggles. And every time there's a real, like say the president was kidnapped, you just see these Chinook helicopters land, and then the bearded BorTech guys would come out and just like kill everyone involved.
I struggle so hard with stack ranking our various governmental superheroes. BorTech is a new one. Delta Force has been around forever. Delta Force is not the top. It's a good movie.
BorTech uses Delta Force to floss with.
Okay, what SEAL Team 6?
SEAL Team 6 do laundry service for BorTech. They drop off their dirty laundry with SEAL Team 6, and then they make sure it's all pressed.
Why didn't BorTech go after Osama bin Laden?
Because
they're too precious.
Easy.
They're too precious. It was too easy, right?
It was an easy task.
It wasn't a high enough priority target, probably.
They were off planet dealing with some shit you don't even know about.
No, they took SEAL Team 6 to Osama bin Laden and said, shoot him. Go.
They were fighting the Osama bin Laden of Mars, Woody. Can you even imagine?
Dude, BorTech is so tough. They were above your pay grade of knowledge, Woody. You didn't even know they existed. I didn't know they existed.
Bin Laden.
That ginger who shot bin Laden, he was like this.
That ginger who shot.
And then BorTech had to come in and hold his shaking arms and let him get the shot.
Yeah,
BorTech is a welding company in Illinois.
That's a front.
Yeah, hard fellas. All right, MIG, gas, stick, whatever. Don't fuck with them.
Aluminum, nickel, mild steel.
Oh, I was thinking BorTech this entire time.
I was wrong. There's BorTech.
BorTech.
Yeah, border tactical, I guess.
Okay.
Damn.
No,
so they're in charge of the border.
I think they've been called off the border for now.
Yeah.
No one's to the border, clearly.
I literally just watched a thing. I don't know if you're familiar with the guy from All Gas, No Brakes, formerly Andrew Callahan. He does Channel 5
Yeah.
News
He
now.
got canceled for some bullshit Me Too stuff.
He said, fuck that. And he came back. And it seems like he spent the interim while he was somewhat canceled, going to like journalism school or something. His new content is excellent. It's doing very well. He bounced around the country to a few hellholes, Philly and San Fran. But he's been doing the border crisis for a couple of episodes. In the last episode, prior to today, he went into Mexico, found some young coyotes, and then arranged to be smuggled across the Rio Grande. In today's video, or actually yesterday, I believe, he got arrested by Border Patrol swimming the Rio Grande. He was in a detention center for a couple of weeks. His coyotes immediately jumped back in and swam home.
Oh, that's not what you're paying for.
Yeah, they got away.
Yeah, there's been a few journalists who are doing the whole trip all the way from like Venezuela and documenting the whole thing. You know, you got to send it up to the cloud fast because when the coyotes catch you, they'll kick your ass. But if you recall, James O'Keefe dressed up as Osama bin Laden and crossed the Rio Grande from Mexico.
No, he did. Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Did he make it?
That's a good bit.
He made it.
He made it just as Osama.
I think he had a mask on. He had like a turban and the whole deal.
Do you think the border control was like, we got an American citizen pretending to be Osama bin Laden wandering around? Oh my God, he's wearing a rubber mask.
Can you imagine you're a rancher? You're out there looking for coyotes, and you're like, holy fucking shit. My lucky day. Never forget.
I'm about to never pay for drinks in this town again.
I guarantee you, when that happened, Border Patrol was like, can we go and actually do our job? And the top brass was like, so cool your jets, buddy. Cool your jets. God, you're real eager to get out there, boy. And they're just like Border Patrol are awesome guys. They're not the incompetent ones here. It's their bosses who won't let them do their fucking job.
That's like every branch of military. Like my friends in the Marines, like they're like, oh, all the grunts, all of us, the ones who were kicking down doors and like we're all high trained, like excellent at our jobs. It's the fucking majors or whoever that are just assigning us and suck.
Well, with Benghazi, they have bases in Italy. Like they were very close. They could have got down there, but you had Charlene Lamb and Hillary Clinton and all these cunt bureaucrats just going, hold on, just stay put. Or even cops. If you know cops, you know that they might be able to get you at a one drunk driving charge if you didn't fuck anyone up, but they don't have any power, and they don't even have the power to do their own jobs. Like they can't tune up some perp who deserves it because he just hit a kid.
Every organization I've ever worked with, it feels like that though. Like, oh, our computer programmers are fantastic. It's management that's an idiot. And I can't name an organization that doesn't do that.
But doesn't it feel worse? Doesn't it feel like the top brass is getting more terrible at their job and hamstringing the guys on the ground more than ever? Well, the NYPD is a perfect example. I mean, they just had migrants kick the shit out of 3 cops and they're free to go.
Really?
And then it got too much media attention. So Alvin Bragg, our DA over here, goes, okay, wait, maybe do arrest them. So they get them in Phoenix and they've already murdered a chick. And these are the guys who left the courts going like this. Bitches.
Wait, so the same people who beat up a cop killed a woman in Phoenix?
Yes. I'm not exactly sure if they killed this chick before or after the cop beating. We're yet to determine that. But they're murderers. And they're all part of these South American theft gangs, SATGs, that Biden let over our porous border. And they're not just like Chinese are worthy adversaries. They're good illegal immigrants. They hide and you can't find them.
They're worthy adversaries.
The old Mexicans, 15 years ago, they were I wouldn't call them worthy adversaries, but they would just like mow lawns over there and you'd stay out of your way. But this new wave, they are organized criminals who are here to empty your garage of its contents while you're sleeping. You know what they're doing here in New York? They kick in the front door while you're there sleeping. They know you're not going to have a gun because it's New York. They grab all the fobs, which are usually right by the front door, hanging on some hooks or some shit. And then they just whoop, 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 whoop. They see what fob goes to what car and take off. And you obviously call the police and everything, but the cops show up and this was all like 15 minutes ago. They're long gone.
Yeah. They're not going to find them.
Is this
and I kind of like,
never heard of this.
I kind of like that What did you say?
Is this real? I've never heard about this.
So it's not real.
I'm asking. Like
No, you didn't ask.
I said, is this real? And now
No,
you're
you did
saying
not.
I didn't ask.
You're a liberal, right?
A little bit.
Can't you just? Isn't it amazing you can tell? I never heard of this. This is bullshit. No. That I've never heard of it. What do you think? I just pulled it out of my fucking ass?
Yeah. Well, I'm asking, is this real? Is it possible?
Oh, so you're changing your tone from like, never heard of this.
I don't think I said that. Look like that. I said, is this real? Exactly like that.
Play back the tape. This is bullshit. This is a real thing. Talk to cops, get involved. You lefties live on satellites that circle the earth without actually putting your feet on the ground. Talk to people in law enforcement. Talk to people that are involved with the border and these fucking criminals, and you will discover that this is a trend. Kicking in the front door, and this is very common in Westchester, in the suburbs here, Yonkers, the Bronx, stealing cars. You talk to cops up where I am, and they go, we didn't have car theft. Like in the old days, you could just smash the drive shaft and hotwire it. Then the car companies figured that out, and there was no car theft for like the past 15 years, basically. And because the fobs are so good. In fact, if you have a BMW and you tell your insurance company, oh, my car was stolen, I left it parked, they're like, no, it wasn't. And you're not getting any money for it. You cannot steal a BMW without the fob. And so these thieves are so brazen, they're just stealing fobs. And then I guess the cars end up in like Saudi Arabia. They end up in the Middle East. They ship them over.
Actually found a story that supports what you're saying. Yonkers police warn of key fob hacking scheme. But they do mention a lot of what you said, which is these key fobs are nice, but they can hang by the front doors, and people are using them combined with signal boosters to do this. So
yeah, that's another thing too. They're seeing you open your car and they're hijacking the signal and then making their own fob.
They wait outside.
Why send it to Saudi Arabia or the Middle East?
I don't know. I think they don't have any standards over there. I first heard that, when you hydro lock your car, it's basically toast because water is in the fucking electrical now. And even if you fix it, you're going to notice problems over the years. So just write it off. Those cars end up in the Middle East, in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia, at these auctions where they get them for nothing. Maybe water can't survive over there. But now I'm hearing that these shipping containers are getting filled with the stolen cars, and they just strip the VIN number, whatever, and they sell them over there because they're obviously savages in the Middle East and they don't have any standards. I fucking hate that those people have any money.
Doesn't it upset you when you see them have nice things? When
they're riding a car on two wheels like that? You know what I mean?
That's impressive, though. That's impressive. I like that.
I'm like, that's my money.
Dude, I like their outfits.
No regard for personal safety either.
I fucking hate their outfits, those stupid long shirts, and they're showing their toes everywhere, and then they got a towel on their head.
Okay, fine. You have a point with the toe thing, but the rest of it looks pretty comfortable.
No, it looks ridiculous. You're wearing a shirt dress. You look like
boys, rip it.
Scrooge.
Oh, look at that.
Dude, you guys are acting like this is lame.
Dude, I'm on board for that shit.
Cool.
That shit's cool as shit. I want to be in there. I'll wear a helmet, though. That's crazy.
Yeah, they're talented drivers. I can't do that.
I think it's easier than it looks.
Camels. You know what we should have done? We should have
the tire.
Hey, there's this black sludge in your water supply. We're going to get it out of there, and we're only going to charge you $100 a month, desert people. And they'd be like, oh, thank you so much. Dude,
how are they in that much of a hurry? They need to change the tire like that. What do you need to get to? Another hot, sandy location right away?
You think that's what it was? They were in a big hurry?
Yeah. They were in a big hurry. They had
40 degrees out.
Yeah. Man, I didn't know the Middle East had no like Saudi Arabia and Dubai. I figured they would like be fancy with cars. Didn't know they were buying our nonsense, our stolen shit.
All right, so remember the Sopranos episode when Tony's sending the cars to Italy and then they're sending them to Russia? I mean, obviously we've got a whole system here with VIN numbers and everything's cataloged and has its place. We're in a computer system, but I don't know if there's a Russian or a European equivalent or even a Middle Eastern equivalent. Maybe you just have a car and be like, yeah, it's mine. Is it? Yeah. Okay.
Stealing cars and shipping them out is
culture, but the
That's
West
been a thing
is
forever.
garbage.
Except I think that it used to be South America is where the cars would land. I hadn't heard Middle East, but I don't know.
You're all about Western culture, Western societies.
West is the best. That's inarguable. Hey, I can't see you guys. Did the guy I yell at for saying never heard of this, is he all quiet now?
No, I'm still talking.
He's still talking.
Yeah, I'm not at all scared.
Oh,
like
can you not
I'm a
hear us?
grown man, and
Okay.
I can say what I want. I if you say something that it turned out I was wrong. I fact checked it.
I was
and
worried I hurt
was
your
wrong.
feelings. Some people don't like confrontation. That's the problem with New Yorkers is they travel and they go like, fuck you. And the guy's like, what the fuck? And you're like, no, I'm saying thanks.
I'm just being rude. I'm just a northeastern rude person.
Yeah, like I was in Greenville, South Carolina recently, and I was wearing white jeans and a Hawaiian shirt. And this guy goes, I like your pants. And I went, fuck you.
He was coming on to you. You could have had a cool experience.
He was mortified. I'm like, mind your own business. I don't care what your opinion is on my fucking pants. Hundreds of billions because of all these migrants coming in.
Yeah, I love that, by the way. The busing of the migrants to
Me
the
too.
sanctuary cities is the funniest. Like, it's like, put your money where your mouth is, motherfuckers. How do you like it when there's
It's
just
really a put my money where
when
your
there's
mouth
human waste piling up on your sidewalks and the smell is getting to you and your district attorney is getting her car broken into? Like you don't like it either, do you? Where'd they come from? We don't know.
South America.
Ask
I
them.
just got robbed. They broke into my garage and my neighbors were like, what happened? I go, this is you. I hate my neighbors. And I'm like, this is you. This is your open borders. You got it. It's the chickens have come home to roost. And I don't like having my garage emptied of they took a bunch of stupid shit too, like $30 skis and a case I have of nuts and bolts. But I'm like,
That would piss me off.
it should arrive. Like the chickens should come home to Chicago and New York and Seattle, all of these northerners that are pro Texas getting inundated and pro Arizona and pro California getting inundated. No, let's let these sanctuary cities actually experience what sanctuary means. And
in Chicago,
Yeah.
they're telling the parents, you have to keep your kids at home and do Zoom classes because we're using your school to house migrants. And it's like, are you crazy? The public school that my tax dollars pay for? Like you're telling me, oh, we're back to COVID, like Zoom classes again, even though our kids can't fucking read.
Wait, are you serious?
Because
That's happening?
because migrants need to be housed at the school.
That's ridiculous. So, and that's in Chicago. It's probably happening in other places if it's happening in Chicago.
I saw crowds of people at some sort of like school board meeting shouting like it. I think the border thing is going to be more of an issue because Biden is seemingly trying to fix it. Like it seems like I don't know.
Doesn't seem like it to me. It seems like they're baking a lot of foreign aid into those.
Well, sure, it was everybody had to agree, and both sides wanted stuff.
While Gavin's gone, let's do a couple of.
Before we do that, I looked into the school thing. It's true, but the school was already closed.
Have you seen that guy who won in Argentina? That far right. I can't.
The guy with the crazy hair,
wild hair, mutton chop, like
hair.
Elvis type thing.
Yeah.
He speaks like Hitler, and I mean that in a good way.
Which country is it?
Okay,
Argentina.
Argentina.
Zach,
Remember when Hitler would be like fucking sweating and like he's 4 hours into a 12-day speech and he's just
yeah,
and you're like,
that guy had
whatever he's saying, I'm on
energy.
board. This guy has that same hardcore white man energy. Okay, like he means what he's saying. He won, and that guy looks like the new Doctor Who. He
does. That'd be perfect.
This guy is not 70s. Threatening looking at all. I did see a clip of him where he I guess in like Spanish, it has like all these little placards of like Department of Education, Department of Human Resources, Department of this and that, and it's just him because I guess he's a hardcore libertarian, just being like, none of this one, getting rid of this,
I think he already shut down their central bank, like his first day in office. It's just gone.
He campaigned with a chainsaw. Like he's in the streets with a crowd behind him. Like I'm sure he's saying something about cutting through the red tape or cutting something like. There's a pun there.
Sure.
There's a pun there, I'm sure. But he's just like, no. And people look at him like, what the fuck?
I want to see how this works out. I'm really curious about the experiment. So here's
if it works, like everybody's gonna fucking start changing up their shit. They're gonna go, oh shit, the libertarians were right. Okay,
but if they are, I'm interested. Yeah, that's a great picture. So here's my take on libertarians. I think they're a lot like cats. right? They absolutely detest you. They fucking hate the owners, I'll call them, right? But they don't realize how completely dependent on the owners that they are. They don't realize the benefit of the goods and services that the owners are giving them. These cats think that they'd make great libertarians and they don't need this infrastructure, but you take it away from them and they will not make it. They will certainly not enjoy the same comfy lives that house cats have today. So libertarians, like, dude, you want the EPA. You want it. You think you don't. You think they're a pain in the ass. It's causing you problems. But wait till you have an energy industry that doesn't have an EPA. It'll fucking change your life. Let's see what happens. Let's see them get rid of the EPA or whatever the equivalent is, the Department of Education, this, that, and the other thing. If Argentina gets better, I'm wrong.
Let's
They
ask an
won't.
expert.
We would
Scraps,
copy
do you
it
want
anyway.
the EPA? You want the EPA?
He says no.
See, that cat,
No.
that cat's a
do not.
libertarian. It thinks it's doing all this on its own. But in reality, look at the infrastructure that it relies on.
I don't need no infrastructure. Fuck
He
the
relies on
infrastructure.
who's
It's
going
on its
who's going to
tower.
service that good kitty's anal glands.
Exactly.
Not the government.
Who's going to
It's
express
you.
the anal glands of this cat?
I mean, like,
Not
even
you,
if it
sir.
like went off without a hitch, and it's like, we don't need the EPA. Like, we wouldn't copy that. Like, the U.S. isn't going to suddenly disband a bunch of powerful organizations just because. Like, look, we did. What's that? South America, El Salvador. They had like the worst gang problem in the on the globe, like gang violence. And then the leader of El Salvador was like, "We are going to." I don't know if he sounds like this. We are going to throw them all in jail. And then he threw them all in jail. And if you've seen their like crime graphs, their violent crime, it's like a cliff, just to
80%.
straight fall down. It turns out you lock all those people up, it stops happening. Like,
And like
you
murders
lock
in
up gang
particular
people.
went down like a tremendous amount.
Yeah.
I saw
Like,
it on Reddit.
They showed
and
how
I
to
was in
solve
the-
it.
Where's this?
I was in
El
El
Salvador.
Salvador. I was reading the comments on Reddit of it's this picture of this room full of El Salvadorian prisoners, and they're all gang members. They all have.
Don't
gang
they have the
tattoos.
videos of them all like in like lines?
Yeah,
being,
yeah.
Like, let,
Yes.
yeah, that's
And they
shit's
called this guy a
wild.
fascist. It's ridiculous. He's getting rid of crime.
I mean, he rounded them up without. Like, he was just like, "Go get them all." Look, how do we know? You know.
Yeah, how do you know? I don't know, man. It's the guys with a bunch of skulls fucking
Yeah.
spray painted on their face.
I don't know. It's a guy
Obvious.
who, on their forehead it says "Murder Lords" in a tattoo. You'd lock that guy up, and like when I saw the picture of all of them locked up, I did not see any haphazard accountants who were on their way to work who were swept up in this. No,
There's just one guy
There
in a
was-
suit and tie going, "Hey, what the hey?"
Dude, they were shooting 1,000 on there.
There wasn't like a Jerry Smith in the group with like a suit and tie, looking confused amongst. No, everyone they all look the same down there for whatever reason. They've all got the exact
They all have
amount
the
of
same
Spanish
haircut,
in them. They're like very short. They all got the shaved head, probably because the prison shaves their heads for lice. But they all got the shaved head, and they're all tatted the fuck up. And they sit them in the most humiliating way. They're all like on their knees with their hands behind their back, but behind their back. But the guy behind them is so close that their hands are in his balls, like cupping that guy's balls. And they have them like in these rows. Everybody's on their knees, but slid right up behind one another. So the guy behind you's balls are in your hands, and it's just. Must be 500 of them in the room, and I'm thinking, like, man, if this place caught on fire, they'd never get them all up.
I don't think they're concerned with that. I think they're like, we're getting rid of violent crime no matter what.
And then I thought,
And they
I
did.
bet they made them get all out of their cells and get in this awful position just for the picture I'm looking at. Fuck
Yeah.
yeah, I love El Salvador.
What it shows to me is that what we need in America easily 8 to 10 times as many jails. We
I
couple the amount of jails, then we can fix it right.
I disagree. I look forward to when we drop the
Oh, do
whole
you?
pretense. I
El
look
Salvador
forward.
prisons are cuddly.
Yeah, they're
Very
intimate. That guy doesn't have pants on. That guy's bottomless.
Wait,
Not his choice.
Right on the right.
No, that's the other guy's leg. I thought that was.
There's one
That was
one naked
delusion.
guy slips in. He's like, "Ooh,
I
I'm
can't
having the
tell.
time of my
Zach, can you
life."
go back? I really thought there was a naked guy.
No, that was my mistake. It's the other
Taylor, you
guy's
need to
leg.
explain it to me because I can't unsee it.
Yeah, it's like one of those patterns, though. Once you see it,
Confusing
you won't be able to
perspective.
unsee it. See, you can see the knee of that guy bending.
The elephant has
Yes,
8
I see
legs.
that knee.
No, the other one behind it. That one. Yeah,
I
that's
see the
his
guy
knee.
behind him
You
is
can see his
covering his
pants.
shorts. I see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But look
All
at the tats, right? Like there's no accountants mixed in, man. I'm sorry. They're
That's
all
what
scary
CPAs
tats
look
too.
like. They're probably from Jersey.
They got crying women tattoos.
Circling the guy without any tattoos.
his whole face is a dragon, dude.
Yeah. You like move around it, but that guy's
his
gonna
whole face
stand
is a
up.
death mask.
Yeah, he's gonna stand up and have fucking SS.
That
symbols.
one guy was the best. They're batting 900.
Yeah.
Hey,
Nah, fuck these people. I don't care.
The
As long as
thing
it's not
is,
me.
though, we could never do this in America because, like, everybody would cry about, civil rights. Because, like,
We're
here's the
going
thing:
the other direction.
all these guys like have genuine fear that like the guards are going to beat the shit out of them. And in America, they would know, like, oh, the guards can't touch me, so I'll just be an asshole and I'm not going to get in the line and I'm not going to squat down or whatever else.
Maybe we hire some El Salvadorian guards.
and then S on his ear.
All these guys have definitely watched another guy like them
He has
have his
multiple
fucking
sclerosis.
face.
Why would you have Danny Trejo now? How did Danny Trejo work his way in?
Hey,
That's racist.
I'm mostly just an actor. he's being
he
fucking
was in San Quentin. He did time.
Penguin March.
They saw him walking around and they went, "He's one of them. Bring him in."
No, I'm
Now
just
that's
shooting another movie.
El Salvador, but that's not related to the politician that just got elected, right?
No, that Argentina's that one. Yeah.
Well, the weird thing about Argentina is everyone's, people in America are going, yeah, we got to do the same thing. Yeah. And meanwhile, Argentina's like, we need to dollarize our economy and have it based entirely on US dollars because the United States, fucking economic policy is the only rock that actually works. And I'm like, we should not do what Argentina's doing. They're doing that because they want our dollar to be their standard of currency so much. It's like we've figured out economics pretty well.
Why would
I believe it or not, I haven't followed the situation in Argentina closely at all.
Get your finger on the pulse down there, Taylor.
Yeah.
In Argentina, like everyone, I think Argentina's the country where it's like more people have United States dollars than they do Argentinian dollar, or like the most amount of American currency outside of America is held by Argentinians because they're like, yeah, because if you have an Argentinian dollar next week, it's worth 1/10 of an Argentinian dollar. Whereas if you just have a US dollar, you just hold on to it forever. And you're like, hey, look at my US dollar. It doesn't change price that often.
Gift certificate to any store on the planet.
Yes.
That's true.
They're like, do you want to get paid in $1 million fun bucks or $1 American dollar? I'll take the $1 American dollar.
Tunisia? I don't even know that African country. Tunisia. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they take dollars there. They take
It's
US
funny you
there.
mentioned. I just saw a video and it was from when we were in Afghanistan, maybe 8 years ago or something. Like I know we were there for a long time, but the video's from then. And this like armor personnel carrier of American soldiers, I don't know what doing what. They pull up into this. I call it a town. It looked like a Wild West town, but in Afghanistan. Like there was like a hitching post to tie your camel, and he goes up to this old man in what they would call a store, and he's got like chips, like cheese doodles or some shit. And it was like 5 bags for $1. He like hands him like $3 and comes back with this huge pile of cheese doodles. He's like, I don't know if he got the best of me or I got the best of him, but I got the cheese doodles. He's like, he took dollars, didn't even flinch.
Yeah.
They're like, did you shake his hand? Like, yeah. Did you thank him before and after? Yeah. Good.
Yeah. You got a bunch of like rubles or I don't know. What's another goofy one? Lira. Like, what do I even do with this? I need to go turn this into real hard American money first, and then I'll know how much it is.
That guy in Argentina, I just put a link in the chat. Like his whole thing, he was going around holding up giant American dollar bills with his face printed on them because it's just like the American dollar is king. And he's basically like, look, man, you want to save Argentina? Like, we got to just be a dollar-based economy. It's fascinating.
Are they gonna, if they hold all those American dollars and he loves us so much, Americans, is he going to send us some of those dollars?
I don't know what's going to happen.
Little show of fealty if they're the state 51. Ooh, a good opportunity for the 51st state, as we've talked about. We split Argentina up into 10. We get 60, baby.
I just want to make sure it's not Puerto Rico. I just want to keep spiting them.
They aren't allowed in ever.
Good.
I have issues with Puerto Rico too. What's your issue with Puerto Rico?
I have no issue with
infrastructure's for shit. Please give me 3 more million dependents or whatever it is.
They're so smug too.
Driving their 50s cars.
We're Puerto Rico. We're like America,
GDP
but we're not
into the
really.
Positives. Puerto Rico.
Yeah, they pay like sales tax and that's it. They don't pay income taxes, but they want like US dollars to fix their infrastructure. Dude, the reason we do that for Florida or Louisiana, New York or whatever, when the Hurricane Sandy hits, is because they've been paying in for the last 200, 300 years.
Mm-hmm.
But Puerto Rico, you just take. You don't pay taxes like the rest of us do. So, you know, you don't see me making health insurance claims if I don't buy health insurance. I do, but hypothetically.
They fight in the army, huh? Like, you be Puerto Rican, you jump in the U.S. military.
I think so. I think they're U.S.
I wonder what their
citizens.
recruitment.
They definitely don't have their own thing.
Here's a bit
going
of
over there.
trivia. Where do you think the military, U.S. military, draws its highest recruitment from? Which states?
States. Well, I bet they're red
Texas,
states.
Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, like those, I would
I
guess.
think it was
Florida.
South Carolina. I think it was like South Carolina, Georgia, and then a weird one out in maybe Idaho, like something like that, like something out in the West. I saw it the other day, but I was just
would buy
thinking, like,
that.
that's how you could contribute. Puerto Rico, like jump in the military, but
No.
yeah, that infrastructure for
No,
shit.
I don't want
It
them
looks
joining it. It's just another way for me to pay them. You want to contribute? You pay me. Pay your fucking taxes, and we'll treat you like a state.
First,
make you a state.
Puerto Rico nice, and then we'll
Yeah.
chat.
And we're changing the name to Puerto Rico. Come on. Stop.
Yes, and no more Spanish over there. None of
We're
that.
naming you Port Ricky, and then you could be a part of the United States.
Yeah, you're Port Jonathan. And
Yeah, wait, does
Port
Porta
King
mean port?
Henry.
I think Porto means port. Am
Port
I right?
of, probably.
Port of
It
Rico.
makes
that's
sense.
right.
I never thought of it.
Your name is Port Ricky.
Yeah.
That's it.
If they don't
nice,
wanna-
good American name.
if they don't want to contribute,
It's
with the
like that Ron
taxes, they don't get to
Burgundy.
vote.
It's like that Ron Burgundy thing. San Diego. What those words mean have been lost to time. Some say it means a goat's vagina. And she's like,
Whale's
no, it
vagina.
means Saint Diego. It's
Puerto Rico, I looked it
Spanish.
up. Zach says it means Port Harbor, but I've
No, I don't think so.
Google said it means rich port.
Rich port. Oh, yeah, the port of the rich.
No, they call themselves rich too.
So then why are they always
don't need us
begging
at
for a
all.
fucking handout? You're the rich port. Shut up.
These communists in
Wait, the
Puerto
Poro,
Rico.
more like.
Yeah, Puerto Rico.
I'll settle for
Port-
Port Richard. That's fair.
They're libertarians.
Ding.
They're libertarians. That's it. It's come full circle. They don't want to pay their taxes. They don't want to be part of the system. And then when they get into trouble, they do want to be part.
No, they're
We just
definitely
think the
not
system- I think they
libertarians.
just think the
They're
system's too
begging to be a
big.
part of the federal
Probably just too
government.
big.
System's too big and too complex. That's the problem. That's the real problem. We need a system.
Yeah,
You
they're
want
the
people to
least
show up.
libertarian part of the United States. They're like, don't leave us alone. Take care of us. Like, send
When
us
they
the-
collect, they're socialists. When they pay in, they're libertarian.
like all the banker crises where they
Mm.
collectivize all their losses and they capitalize all their gains.
Yeah.
This brought to you by 2012 fucking the March on Wall Street. What was
Public
that?
losses, private gains. That was
Occupy Wall Street.
Occupy Wall Street. I remember that.
You had something super dark to
Oh,
jump into.
I don't know if you guys ever got into this shit. When I fucked my brain on this shit growing up. But this, I feel like this is a safe space for dark topics. Okay, more so than most groups of people I talk to. You ever spend like hours of your life watching like these incredibly fucked up like death websites? You ever do this shit?
Yeah, we did a show on that.
We watched them online.
Okay, I'm a little uncomfortable with Woody's response there. That seemed a little bit too into.
I won the thing. I was like, I made it to the end comfortably.
Yeah, you
Oh,
did
shit.
There was the worst one. We've talked about it a dozen times. Is the Russian one where they kill him with like a hammer and a screwdriver.
guys
Have
and
you
a
seen
hammer.
this?
Oh, with
Yeah.
the eyes and everything.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Oh yeah.
that one's terrible. It really just takes a chip of your soul and removes it.
Have you seen the one? Sometimes I wonder, like, what the fuck these people did? Where they like reach into this guy's stomach and they reach up and they take his heart out and they punch it out of his
Yes.
fucking body.
Yes.
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
We watched that the other week. Is that where his arms and legs are cut off, or just his arms?
Yeah, I
cut
think
off
they
as
are.
well?
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched.
But that wasn't even the most shocking part of the video. It was actually, I'm watching a video where a guy's arms have freshly been cut off, and it's not even close to ranking as the most fucked up part of the video. Like, holy shit.
Oh, but
We had
some of
a.
those videos just upset you.
Do you remember they made a salad out of a human? Right? The Mexican
What?
Cartel did it. It was
Yeah.
actually
Oh.
a photo, not a video, so that takes away from it. But you're like, how do you make a salad with like human parts as an ingredient? So instead of just like leaves of lettuce, they would have like heads of lettuce, and then like a
Oh,
human
God.
head, and then like a human forearm, and an entire tomato. They wouldn't cut the salad pieces, and proportionally, it was a decent like chicken salad, but really large, with your loved one in it.
Jesus Christ! And what do they do? Just like leave this giant salad on your front door?
Yeah, well, I think it was a message to the other people. This is the Mexican Cartel. If I remember the
Those dudes are
context of bringing it
crazy.
up, we were like, hey, what if the Mexican Cartel didn't like ISIS? And those two started butting heads. How, who would end up on top there? It's a real clash
I
of the
always-
titans.
I always
think
joke
the
about this, but like,
cartels-
if the cartels were Muslim, like, we would have been down there so quickly. But because it's just like Mexican shit, we absolutely couldn't give a fuck less. But like, if there was actually like the Islamic cartel down there in Mexico instead of just like Mexicans, holy shit, yeah, we would be all over that shit.
You
Jesus, those
think?
people are. I think so. Those guys
be
would like
right.
kill like school buses full of kids and shit. Those people are fucking
I
crazy.
hear
dude.
you, but the reason we don't like Muslims is 9/11. Prior to that, we really had no opinion. Then they killed us.
Yeah, maybe, sure.
Yeah. So
I mean,
until the Mexican
might.
cartels knock down, Sears Roebuck Tower or something.
I feel like the cartels are so powerful, though. Like they're
Yeah.
they're running huge sections of that government, and so like they've got to have some like diplomatic relations with U.S. politicians and shit that would prevent us from going too hard on them, right?
Oh, maybe. I'm not too sure about that, but
I don't know either.
Yeah, it's a good. I like your conspiracy. I see where you're going with that. Because I was
I'll
gonna.
chalk that up as fact and believe it for the rest
You're
of my life.
like, Mexican cartels are so powerful. I'm like, not compared to the United States Marines, but when you do the conspiracy route and say, they're friends with the senator, then suddenly it
Oh
can
no,
work.
like it's not conspiratorial to say they are like friends
Embedded in the
with
government,
Mexican
at the very
within
least,
the
yeah.
Mexican government. Yeah.
Right,
those-
right. But
and
I
those
think that you
friends in
took
the
another
Mexican
step,
government.
right? You said
Yeah.
that. I thought you were saying American politicians. Maybe
No,
I
I'm saying that
misunderstood.
then they could use those Mexican politicians to influence American politicians. Be like, oh, it's not even as bad as you're thinking down here, and we're actually taking a lot of measures to take care of this on our own. Don't bother. Stay away.
That will not work with our current government. I don't think there's, there are diplomatic ties between Trump and Mexico.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, those cartels are just. I'm trying to think of more brutal videos. I don't think any of them-
I'm really curious now because I have an answer, and most people seem to agree after we bring it up. What is like the most disturbing video you think you've seen?
It's that Russian one.
Yeah.
The Russian
really
one's
think-
there. There's also an ISIS one where they execute just like 38 people or something like that, just shooting them in the back of the head. And sometimes in a position like that, I think of myself like, what do you do if your guy
When you're
number-
like the last one.
Yeah, I was going to say 22, but right, like when your fate, what's your move there? You're gagged, I think, and your hands are bound, so you're not going to like MacGyver your way out of this, or Captain America, or whatever it would take. Do you
on
just
some level, you're probably just like deer in the headlights. Like you just freeze up and like almost like your body is a protective mechanism is like releasing whatever DMT, whatever the hell that is, right when you're about to die and you're in that prime freak out mode. Because like when you see those videos, it's rare that you see people like moving and like trying to escape and like frantic like fish flopping
Ooh.
maneuvers.
Have
But
you
usually
seen
they're
some of
just
the ones?
flopping? I like Taylor.
Have you seen some of the ones where the guys like fight back or like grab an AK or whatever? There are a
No.
couple of those.
No.
Oh,
What-
really? There's
How does
one,
that go down?
There's
it
one
lively?
where, well, usually the guy dies pretty clever, but there's one where a guy is like sorting through a grave of all of his friends, and the people are like video recording, and they're kind of laughing at him, like telling him to toss like the empty guns up. And as the guy is going through, he finds a rifle that is still fully loaded, and you can hear like all the guys screaming as this guy like comes out and like opens fire on these people, and it's like that's pretty insane. And there's a lot of shooting there, so I imagine he probably made it for a little bit, but
And then he
Jeez.
dies, right?
I want to find one
Yeah,
of those
yeah,
things.
of course.
Well,
But
I
he
mean, it'd be
probably had
better
a
to kill
positive
couple of
KD
them.
ratio.
well,
If
I
you
mean, in
kill
real
more than
life,
one
you only have
person,
to
you
kill more
can't.
than one person. Yeah.
Yeah.
In real life, like a positive KD ratio isn't the hardest thing, but
No,
not
I
to take away from it.
I don't know. Most people in war, I would
Don't
I would
kill
I would
people?
say it averages out to an even death rate.
Well, it
you know?
depends on if you count assists or not. How are you doing your?
Assist,
yeah.
yeah.
And then it really matters if you're running that perk. What the fuck is it called? Hardline Pro or something like that.
Oh, to get
Then
your
it's
kill
then
streak
two
faster.
assists count for a kill.
Yeah.
What so this is actually what I think is I've seen probably every fucked up video on the internet.
Mhm.
I don't know why, but I watch these morbid curiosity. But the most disturbing one is actually one on YouTube for me, and it's I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's the one where the guy is driving and a brick just comes off the back of the truck and it goes through the windshield and strikes
Oh,
his wife.
shit.
That's like probably the worst. I don't even
It's
know why. There's
awful.
no gore in the video at all, but it is like
I just
the
got a
whole-
chill thinking about that.
Yeah.
It's awful. Yeah.
Holy
guy-
shit.
Yeah, the
When you
noise
hear
the
the
guy
kid-
makes.
The fact that his life in like a millisecond just like it was irreversibly changed through no fault of his own in like such a horrible fucking way, in like such an unlikely way too. Like
I've
oh,
seen a
that's just-
similar
yeah.
thing where a tire hits a motorcyclist. Like it just comes
Oh,
off
sure.
a semi or something, bounces once or twice, and then plows in oncoming traffic. So the closing speed is like 100 miles an hour.
Massive force.
And you just done. I think there's a weird thing about watching someone transition from alive to dead.
The dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
because you always imagine it'll be so dramatic or whatever. And now I get paranoid when I'm standing on the street sometimes and like a car comes across the sidewalk a little bit too close. It's like, fuck, I was almost one of those videos, wasn't I? Like my life could have ended instantly right here.
You think about that like Final Destination shit that starts happening.
Yeah.
It's like maybe like some roofer didn't quite put a shingle on correct and it's got a metal edge or whatever the hell would happen and you end up dying. Another video like that is, have you heard the one where it's like a family in a car, they call the police because their brakes have gone out and they're approaching the end of a road and they're going like full speed and they're trying to like tell the guy what to do and the whole family ends up dying.
Oh no, I actually haven't heard this
They don't have the brakes and they just careen into whatever it was. It's been a while since I've seen.
Probably should have turned the car off, huh?
That's only an audio clip, I think. Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't turn the car off. Maybe there's
turn off the car. Oh,
there were a couple.
I didn't even think of that.
Was it Toyota cars or something? There were a couple where the throttle would get stuck open. That was like actually.
It might have been one of those Toyota ones. I think you're right.
I don't know if it was. I don't know if Toyota was the brand or not. I don't
had
want
a conspiracy
to screw you guys
theory
at a future
about that,
sponsor.
but I'm not sure that happened. They made a big deal out of. I think it was Priuses that were like staying wide open throttle, and then did that ever actually happen?
Well, the thing is that like if you're a car manufacturer and you detect that it's possible, whether it happens once or like a lab test somewhere shows, or like you're doing something and it happens, you have to recall immediately. Because if that happens like twice, your brand, you're talking like multi-million, maybe $1 billion of damage to like your sales, right? Because that's like a story that you never want. Fuck. There was a tire company that had to deal with this, Firestone, yeah, for a while. Where like how long did people avoid Firestone tires? I wonder what the damage to their like market share and stock was as a result of that.
Enormous. I bet they've never recovered.
I guess Jeeps come out of park, some of them, and they can just drive and kill you. And they killed the guy that played Chekhov in Star Trek, the movies. You know,
it was that. It wasn't
Grand
that
Wagoneer or something.
It was in park. It was the Grand Cherokee. It wasn't that it came out of park. It was that he had like left it in neutral or something. Like it was that it didn't notify you well enough that you weren't in park. He fucked up.
That what it was? Okay.
Yeah, and then he got pinned against a wall, and they found him dead, pinned against the wall.
Oh.
I looked up the thing with the Priuses that killed 89 people.
Ooh. Holy shit! That's some scary shit.
Although it does counter Destiny's
point. None of us have heard of that.
That maybe two would be enough
it's like irreversibly ruins your brand, and you need to recall it on the possibility. Because we're here like, oh, was it 80 people that died? You know, that's no hurricane.
Wait, how many people did you say it killed?
89.
Oh, 89.
Oh, Jesus.
Do you remember, like, I don't remember, like, maybe it was over 10 years ago, probably 15 years ago, I don't know exactly. Remember when the most fucked up thing on the internet was 2 girls, 1 cup? At the time, you were like, whoa, this is bananas, man. You won't be able to handle it. And now you could, like, have that running almost on CNN, and people wouldn't ask questions.
Yeah, the kids and I watched that together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Healthy fetish relationships. Now, notice how she doesn't fake eating the poop out of the ice cream cone. Now, both of these girls need a bit more fiber in their diet.
And then the vomit. Like most people didn't watch the whole thing, but they start vomiting back and forth toward the end. Like she's like eating shit and vomiting the shit into the other girl's mouth, and they're like snowballing it back and forth.
I'm more grossed out by like pimple popping and loogies and snot than I am by that kind of shit.
I kind of like the pimple popping. We've talked about this before. I kind of like it.
I don't get how people like that. Oh, it's gross. You would probably like to try some of those Mexican Andy ones, Kyle.
I don't want to do the popping.
Oh, I thought you wanted to be the popper.
No,
fuck.
no. It just like he needs
Accutane.
Yeah,
Accutane. That works like a charm.
That needs to be like his fundraiser goal.
GoFundMe for Accutane.
He doesn't give a shit. I mean, you'd have a better chance getting ice to bathe regularly.
I mean, at that point, with like when your skin's as rough as Mexican Andy's is, like that's gonna get infected at some point. Like there's gonna be some kind of abscess or something. Like this is like a health issue at this point. Your skin's an organ. Like you got to take care of it.
So
speaking of that, abscesses, the most disgusting thing I've seen in real life related to that was actually my grandma, and I found out through other research that this is pretty common, unfortunately. Have you ever seen a pressure sore in real life?
No.
Or ever seen a pressure sore, like an image of it?
I'm gonna have to Google this. I haven't seen it.
Oh, careful. It is fucking disgusting. Like, these things are caused by just sitting in one position for too long and not having somebody move you. And
the old live streamer sore.
Bed sore. Yeah, bed sore. Yeah. It is unbelievable how fucking disgusting these things are.
These
and
look
I
like
remember
recluse bites.
Yeah, it's insane. And I saw my grandma get up one time and like the back of her like dressing, her like hospital gown or whatever was open. And I saw this thing and I was like, Grandma, you're fucking, what the fuck is going on in your back? You got like a fucking hole in you. Oh my God.
Oh
so
my God.
fucking disgusting. Yeah, these things are huge.
Yeah, if people watching this, you're gonna have to look at it yourself. I looked it up and decided even on this show, I didn't want to share it.
And a lot of these look like they're in the same spot, like right above the ass crack.
Right, yeah.
So there's just a hole. A literal
necrotic,
hole.
Like abscess. Yeah.
Ooh.
If you show me this, I agree with you, Woody. This looks like or I think you said it. It looks like a brown recluse bite. Like
yeah, well, because they're similar, I think, right? Like the necrotic tissue ends up dying and then it leaves an abscess once it falls off or whatever. This is literally just caused by pressure, though. And they're all in the same spot because, like, when you're laying down, commonly these are the areas that pressure is applied. And when you're really old, you don't have, like, the wherewithal to move around as much as a younger person. So if people in nursing homes don't come around and move them often, these sores just kind of develop over time.
It's a sad thing
I
that
looked
happened
up
in old age.
the Anton Yelkin, the Chekhov dude, and how he died and such.
Uh-oh.
A combination of Kyle and I being right. So drivers think that they're shifting it into park and it's popping out. And it turns out that it has, I'm trying to get the verbiage they used, an unconventional gear stick design, which causes it to, people think they're shifting into park, but it's actually in neutral. So they're putting the car in neutral, walking around. And in his case, he got crushed. He was alive for hours. And he was crushed. Kyle said it was a wall. In my head, it was a, one of those brick mailboxes, but I could be wrong. But yeah, the car rolled into him, crushed him up against a wall or thing or column, and he was alive for hours and eventually died.
I had no idea he was alive for hours. That makes it so much worse.
Oh, if only he'd had his comm badge, he could have gotten Kirk or
beep, beep.
Sulu to come help him out.
Beam me out of here.
One of the worst ways that I've seen to like die in a car. Did you guys ever see the kid that died reaching into the back seat getting something out of like a van?
No.
This was so incredibly sad and fucked up. So basically, fuck, I'll try to look this up a funny image, but like
lethal?
What happened was the seats like will lean back a certain way if you put pressure on them. So what happened was he just reached over the seat to kind of grab something, and he was reaching kind of far and his like hips went over the seat, but then the seat ended up coming down. So he couldn't really breathe, but he couldn't push himself up to get over the seat because every time he would like push up, the seat would come up a little. So he tried to push himself out until he got too tired in his arms and shoulders, and then he just suffocated to death and died like in the back of this. It was like a van or something.
He called 911, right?
I don't know if he did or not. I don't
Dude,
think he
there's an audio tape of
way to
this
die.
kid dying, calling
That makes me,
911, saying I'm
really?
suffocating. Yeah, and he's in a terrible bad spot, and he says what parking lot he's in. He's in like a parking lot of a shopping mall or something, and the police were unable to find him in time, and he suffocated and died.
In this video, if you go to like 15 seconds, you can kind of see it sounds like so dumb, like impossible. Or you go to like 10 seconds in the video on this page, and you can see like how like basically what happens is you go to reach like back behind the seat, and it kind of goes down a little, and you can't like push yourself out because it moves with you. And he just kind of got stuck there. Oh, and I think he did call. Yeah, it looks like he did call. But oh man. And he's like, the kid was 16 years old. It's not like it was a senior citizen that died through like some unfortunate shit. It was like oh man.
Yeah, and he was just too squished.
Oh, that video helps you understand the mechanics of it a lot more. Wow.
How fucking horrible. Jeez.
And how could any engineer have like predicted that, you know, to avoid it? Like it's like you don't even think to do stuff like that.
That's fucked.
Yeah.
It's those kind of things that like make you paranoid in that whole Final Destination way, where it's like I could be that guy for something else, to where then my entire life is a boiled down news
You're the
story.
one guy that
It's
died
not-
in the most impossible way.
It gets worse, Taylor.
Stepped on the only faulty manhole cover in the whole city and fell right through it.
At
It was
some
made of
point,
paper mache.
you'll be the fully competent like adult, and you have a 2-year-old trying to kill him or herself constantly,
God.
right? All the time. Like, I wonder if I can fit my head between these two spindles by the stairway. You know, like, what? Hey, look, this
My
thing on
brother
the bottom
did that,
of the
and
pool.
fire department had to come.
This thing on the bottom of the pool sucks. I'm gonna try and stop the suction with my belly button. You know,
Or
like
with
like
my ass.
Yeah,
and
with
get your
my
whole
ass.
fucking
Yeah,
testicle
yeah.
cracked.
There's idiot
Don't do it,
children.
no matter how good it feels.
At some point, you'll have to keep these unknowingly suicidal young children alive until they become competent like you. Good
Another
luck.
horrible video. Being a parent now, like I totally understand. Like, and people can be real critical of parents. Like, how could you let your kid die that way? And it's like, dude, like you don't understand. Fucking 3-year-olds are constantly trying to kill themselves at every single fucking moment of their lives. I watched. This is a really heartbreaking video. Really fucking sad. I think it's a Chinese lady has a stroller right fucking next to her, and she's at like a street vendor or whatever. And she reaches forward to talk to the guy, and the stroller moves back like a couple inches, and then it falls over, and a like a garbage truck rolls right over this baby's head. And it happens in like the course of like 3 to 5 seconds. And it was like, and the lady turns around, and I like can't even imagine, like your kid is fucking dead. Holy shit, dude. I don't know. I think your kids are a little bit older, Woody, but like my son is 7 years old, and like I'm trying to imagine like letting him walk home from school on his own. I don't know how old he's gonna be when I'm okay with this happening. Like, because I'm just thinking like it's 3 o'clock, he's off school, it's 3:15, he should be home by now. What am I gonna do the day that like he's not home on time? Like, holy fucking shit! Like, I don't even know like how I'm gonna deal with that. Ugh.
Yeah, probably freak out. Sounds so stressed. That's something that you don't think about until you have kids. Kyle and I don't have children.
Yeah.
And so, like, to us, it's more like, annoying kid in public, whatever. But
Yeah.
you don't have the parent brain of like, don't touch that. You over there, stop. Fucking stop.
Dude.
You know,
Or like as a teen, I'm thinking of like teenage privacy is very important. A teenager needs to be able to grow and develop on their own. It's very important that they have their independence, blah, blah, blah. As a parent, it's like, I need to fucking chip my kid. I want a goddamn GPS on this motherfucker so I know where he's at every point in his life. Like,
So I go to this doctor, and I had bleeding bed sores on my buttocks. So he told me to drop my black and white striped trousers and my pink boxer shorts and bend over. And he's looking at these bed sores. And he did give me antifungal ointment to take back to my cell. So I'm putting this antifungal ointment on my bed sores. This is months later now, when I was in a cell, I think on my own. And a guy appeared at my window. I'm half naked. This guy looks through the window and he disappears. And I got a love letter shoved under my door a few hours later, commenting on my hairy arse and proposing we have a gay prison marriage. And in fact, his exact words were, "I'm looking forward to shampooing your hairy arse on our honeymoon in San Francisco."
Oh, that's so sweet.
He's a bit of a romantic. I like this guy. Now, I know it wasn't what you were looking for, but you didn't say this is a man with bad eyesight.
Cosign.
Right?
Now I gotta ask, was he cute?
All right, this is now my introduction to Frankie. Frankie was a Mexican Mafia hitman. He showed me his paperwork, $50,000. It was his fee for murder for hire. He was in for conspiracy for murder. And he was genuinely bisexual. But he was a chess champ, and he'd heard about my chess playing skills. So he had come to my window that day to challenge me to chess. He saw me with my trousers down, bent over, putting the antifungal ointment on the bleeding bed sores on my behind. And he said it was love at first sight. So
Does anyone else feel like we have to see the behind to know?
Frankie seems pretty nice so far.
Oh, yeah. He did. He had my back, not my backside. He had my back. For many situations.
Just being good, yeah.
And he was coming on to me throughout many months that he was housed in the areas I was housed.
True.
And,
a little piece of you flattered.
If you go to a gay bar and the fellas come up to you and you do feel a bit flattered.
Sure.
I'm not. There's so many homophobic people out there, and it's all nonsense, isn't it? People should just get along with everybody. And he wanted me to do naked yoga for him. He wanted me to play strip chess and all.
Not with him, for him. So so you were going to be doing yoga alone to no tape in a cell for him.
He just wanted to bang his bishop while watching it.
Did you say he was a chess grandmaster and now he wants to play
probably not
chess?
a grandmaster.
There's a lot of guys in prison who become chess champions, but they have no way to measure it really. But put it this way, I was in a chess club when I was a kid. I was beating the adults And my chest thing rekindled in jail. And I was the champion up until that point, and Frankie kicked my fucking ass. And my parents had to send chest books in so that I could keep up with him. And every now and then I did overtake him with the chess books, but then he'd formulate new strategies and he'd start winning again. I had to get more chess books sent in.
That's fun.
But I've got a funny story about him, right, from Supermax.
Mm-hmm.
So in Supermax, you very rarely get out your cell. So they pass things through fishing lines. Now, a fishing line is, a strip of sheet or cloth or cotton or whatever. You put a weight on it like toothpaste and you throw it under your door. And you even got people throwing them from the upper tier down to the bottom tier. You connect your end with their end, tie them together, and you can pass whatever you want from cell to cell. And I remember
from the upper to the bottom, you mean you just slide it so hard under the door that it like goes over the railing or the side?
Yeah, it goes off over the run where people can walk across. It goes under the door, over where people walk across, off the railing, and down to the bottom tier, to the floor. And I remember one time looking out my window, looking out at the area outside, and it was like poltergeist. You could see like a bag of this was moving this way, and an envelope was moving this way, there's a peanut butter was going this way. Anyway, Frankie, the frisky fella he was, he got someone to hold on to one end. He tied the other end around his dick, and the person in the other cell was giving it that. Yeah.
Man. All right, wait. We made fun of the ingenuity of the
Bobby
earlier,
Fischer
now
of
I'm on
prison.
board. Yeah, now like this is ingenious.
All right, so here's the
tricking
question.
another prisoner into jacking you off is one of the funniest things I've ever heard. That's really, really good.
What did you tell him? He was operating some sort of very complex tattoo gun? Yeah, faster. Coming out real good.
Stop! It's too sensitive. What if we used our military to like pull off a heist to fix our financial woes, where we just agreed like, not your fucking day, Nigeria, and we rob them blind, like, and then we're the United States.
I'll be honest.
Nigeria is like, you stole all our shit and our money, and we're like, that's not the way we see it.
What if we just told China we weren't paying them back?
I don't know how that would pan out.
I'll tell you what I would do. Like we've got this whole military and we've got this problem. Like one of the leading for sure causes of death in America, right? Is fentanyl caused by these
fentanyl
that's flowing through these Mexican drug cartels. I think the border needs to be about 50 miles further south, just for security purpose, for national security purposes. I think we need to commandeer make a DMZ between us and the main cause of American death right now. So I would use the American military to invade Mexico and take, set up a DMZ on the other side of the Rio Grande and the whole perimeter. So take the whole thing. And that Yucatan Peninsula thing, I've always thought we should have that.
But this time, no bullshit slat walls.
Is that what you call that thing off Cali? Woody, you would know better than me.
It might be called that. I call it Baja California.
Okay, I want all that.
A name for that. That I'm wrong.
Do we own the whole thing? The whole peninsula that comes down?
No, there's a bit we don't own.
We should get that.
Yeah,
I would want.
I've been saying that for a while. Like if you look at the map and you just steal that much of California,
Cancun is,
Mexican
coastline. Look how much shorter our border could be.
And that's a great idea. I love that, Woody. And how much of Canada would we need to take in order for us to be the new biggest country instead
far
of Russia?
Too much.
No, can't get real. Like, I love you Canadians. I love your sport, your national pastime. Great country, second best country, but you're not doing anything with a lot of that land. We could use that, and now we dominate Russia because we want to be the bigger country.
Why?
Because it's cool.
Oh, look.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So what is that body of water to the east of Baja, California?
The Gulf of California.
The Gulf of California, right? Draw a straight line up there and look at how much less border we'd have to defend.
Yeah.
Boom. That's not there, Zach. Get more ambitious. Take it to the right a little bit.
Come on down. Come on down.
You went too far right, my friend. At the top of Gulf of California.
Right north of Sonora. Near Nogales.
I guess I'm not communicating.
Yeah, start at Nogales and go west.
Go west. That's exactly what we want.
Yeah.
And now we save a huge. We get look how much more beach line. We get like a whole small Florida worth
And
of
here's
more
the
beaches.
thing. Here's what's beautiful about that. We cut off the whole peninsula to land travel. All of their goods have that from Mexico now have to come in through water. And if they want to go through us, they have to pay some sort of
little tariff.
fee. Little tariff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see how this
sorry,
could go
Mexico.
wrong.
You're
They
not.
can't
You're
ship
just
things
sending
to their own
up
people
into
that-
our country.
I'd like that.
We're playing. How about we go? You want a real small border? How about we just draw it right north of Mexico City? We just take
You don't want to.
whole thing.
No. Then we got to look after all those awful people that live
second
in
wall.
a second wall.
The second wall up near the
below them.
And then we
keep the
have
Guatemala because we don't want Guatemalans in our New Mexico.
Oh, heaven forbid! No,
yeah, that's what we call it. We call it New Mexico.
I was just thinking we were racing to that.
New Mexico. Yeah, and I think we need a lot more land than that in order for us to compete in biggest country with Russia. I think Russia has us beat by a lot. Actually, Canada has us beat, which is yeah, they're the biggest.
Are
by
you sure
far.
Canada's bigger than America?
Canada, yeah, it goes Russia, Canada, us, and then China right after us. So yeah, Canada has us beat in landmass, and so if for nothing other than like we should be the biggest because we're the best.
That's like if we froze a big chunk of the Pacific Ocean and claimed it, we'd be big too. All that shit they have is useless. You look at the population density map of Canada, and you'll quickly realize there's a lot of useless Canada.
Yeah, they're not using it. We could find something to do.
They can't use it. It's
drill,
Eskimo
drill,
territory.
drill.
It's not useless Canada. It's useless Canadians with no imagination. If that was America, that'd be productive land.
We'd be drilling.
You've seen Montana?
I have seen Montana.
And what are they doing in Montana? They're trying to drill. They're trying to get shit moving.
North Dakota? Like, come on. Like, we've got big swaths of.
Kyle's right.
Land,
I've been to
do
these
shit with
places and there's nothing there.
Dude, you're a fucking communist, Kyle. You don't want us to be the biggest country. You want Russia
Taylor's winning me over.
Yeah,
Kyle is a
Steve,
commie.
you fucking pinko bitch.
I heard him in a Russian accent.
I want some better property. You're wanting some frozen tundra. I'm saying let's take some of those Caribbean isles. Cuba looks juicy. Why are we putting up with a communist regime 90 miles off the coast of Miami? Bomb them. We could kill every Cuban that exists in a nightfall. If we just use some of our advanced weaponry, maybe
ruin Cuba. We don't want to rule over the ashes.
No. We use a virus bomb.
That's going to ruin Cuba.
No, it's going to ruin Cubans.
Yeah, but
it's going to save Cuba.
There. Save Cuba. We're here to save you from the communists. We're in gas mask.
The whole problem with Cuba is the Cubans.
Oh, we are.
Wait, I have an idea.
Yes.
Shit. Does it involve genocide?
90. It's 100 miles. 100 miles from the Key West to Cuba. If you were to attack it by paramotors and the wind was right, some of you would make it.
Huh? Just a Bay of Pigs fiasco. Just a bunch of men drowning in their own twine in the sea.
Bunch of men with range anxiety, barely making it to
They're
Cuba.
calling it the Bay of Flying Pigs.
It's the U.S. military, so every single paramotor
drowned in the waters just offshore.
Every paramotor costs us $1 billion because it's our military.
My friend is a paramotor trainer, and he's trained the U.S. Army. Like they come in. I have a couple guys who've done this, and they pay a lot for the training. And to them, one of the beauties is that paramotors are so cheap you can just leave them there. And I'm like, it's like $15,000 to equip a paramotor with a reserve chute and a wing that you just leave behind. But $15,000 to the military is
his goggles cost way more than that.
Okay. Yeah. Just like something you'd leave on the beach.
Yeah. I saw the Navy SEALs have this new fucking like craft. It can be like a first of all, you're sitting in it. It looks like an amusement park ride. You know what I mean? Like it kind of comes up to your waist and you're sticking out the top. If you search Navy SEAL personal submersible, you might find it. There's like 6 or 8 guys in this thing, and it can turn into a full submarine, but they're in there with scuba on. Like just like blah, 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 looking at each other as they cruise under the water. But it can also be like partially submerged, or it can be on the water. I think that I don't know what it comes out of, but it's like a landing craft or a traveling craft for SEALs.
A SEAL delivery vehicle. Oh, my link isn't going to work, but that's what I wanted to see.
I think that's it. That looks similar to what I saw. When I saw it, there were like 6 guys in it, and they were showing it from the side, so it
kind of looks
different.
shitty.
What are you talking about?
Like it doesn't. Maybe I'm not getting the full picture.
What does it get me?
No,
that
there's
like
the full
a
picture.
little handheld propeller that scuba divers have.
Yeah, where you hold on.
Does
to
that make
thing.
sense? Yeah, Taylor, you've
It
seen
pulls
it.
you
Yeah,
through. Yeah,
it's like a little
range.
propeller. Man, maybe you're right.
Yeah, but if
Maybe-
they're like looking for range, they'd probably want a real submarine.
Well, it comes out of a real submarine, so we're all in our real submarine, like hidden under the water, and we're like, all right, we're gonna send the boys in, get them in the little sub, and then they inject them into the water, and it beep, 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 it comes up, and then now we're like cruising in our stealthy. I bet it's quiet and has range and stuff.
Yeah,
I
or
bet.
yeah, it's probably
It
neat.
must feel so good to be a Navy SEAL and be like, they just spent a stupid amount of money to get me into this place.
Yeah,
Like
and you
it
don't
would-
and you don't have to shave.
Yeah. And then,
Oh, that's a big plus. I could never make it in the other branches. I'd look like a bitch of a Marine. I
Yeah,
wouldn't want to do that.
I'd have definitely been a Navy SEAL. What about you?
Realized we are over. I got to do a little advertisements.
ads.
Little
Yeah.
advertisements. We're just having a good time.
I like when they have like a little comedic timing to them. I saw one where the guy gets out and starts shit with the other guy, and he's got some sort of mall ninja sword that like folds up until it's 6 inches long, but then like sha until it's like this long, like thin blade, swingy blade, and the other guy's like, "Whoa, what the fuck? You have a sword?" And the guy's filming it. He's like, "Oh, homeboy got a sword. What the fuck? Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude, play it safe." Because the other guy's like, "No, I don't want to beef with a sword wielding man." And so the sword man like retreats, and he's like, "Oh wait, homeboy got something in his trunk. What he got? Guy's popping his trunk. Oh, he got a gun. He's got like an AR-15. You see him grab the AR-15 and like pull it up here, and then the video turns off. And I'm like, I hope that was fake because the comedic timing's perfect. It's just like the one. There's one where there's a motorcycle, a guy on his motorcycle riding in an alleyway, and some guy stops him and like mugs him with a knife, and he's like, yeah, take the bike, man. And then all of a sudden the song cuts in, just the two of us, and he like pulls a Glock out and puts it, and he's like pointing at the guy's back, and the video cuts. I'm sure that one's fake. That one's definitely some.
I've seen that reel. It wasn't in America. It's South America somewhere, and the guy like doesn't resist. He lets him take the motorcycle, and then he unloads like 6 into him. The caption said the victim.
Like I was waiting for someone to take
lost
that
the
bike.
with a cop. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, I saw like South America has some of the best carjacking videos. I saw a lot of scooter robberies in South America, and I saw one where these 2 guys on a scooter tried to stop these other 2 guys who were just walking and rob them, and then go off into the night on their scooter. And they had a machete, and the people they were accosting, one of them had a gun. And so what ended up happening is that I guess these 2 guys, the one with the gun who was about to be robbed, I guess they were also criminals. And so they then robbed the robbers, and then it's them riding away, 2 of them on a moped. So like they were about to get robbed, and they're like, no, you know what? Actually, this isn't cool. Give us your moped. So, a little corrective justice there. I liked that. Good for them.
I like it
Also,
when you
the
go.
law in South America with guns and self-defense seems to be that as long as they're within 700 to 800 yards of you, you can pursue them, you can kill them, you can shoot them. Like you see an American like be like blah blah. All right, I neutralized the 7-Eleven thief, and he's laying there being like, my legs. In fucking Honduras, they don't stop shooting. They reload, they get friends, they kill you, they murder you. Same with Asia.
They have a cookout around your body.
They seem to. Yeah, they play for keeps in Honduras and in Guatemala and all those places that I don't want to visit.
I don't blame the road rage guys. Like driving is, people don't appreciate the gravity of how dangerous driving is. Like just how easy it is to fucking die. Like I think it should be justified if somebody seriously cuts you off in a very dangerous way to just beat their ass for like 10 seconds. I think that should be legal.
Just 10 seconds. Well, it's going to be hard to get them to agree to it.
Well, if the law agrees, you should like call a cop so we can come by and watch. Be like, all right, get like a timer, like stopwatch, go. And you get your time.
I'd be good with that. Everyone would be a lot more courteous if they knew.
Oh yeah,
that
way less.
I was waiting for Woody's reaction. Woody went, ooh.
Oh yeah, Woody would be the guy.
I was waiting for Woody to agree the video was legit, and I saw it in his eyes. He was like, "Yes."
Kyle's exactly right. That was me reacting to the link he put in the chat. For people watching, Kyle linked in the chat. Luckily, it was maybe not America, outside some sort of quickie mart, and someone came along with a drive-by and shot. I looked at it quickly. 3-4 people.
3 people. Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, they come back with G18s. It's crazy. Like I think that was Mexico. It's a cartel hit or something like that from at least a year ago. I see it crop up every now and then. But the thing that strikes me is how that the drive-by comes by and shoots all these people who are just outside some little bar tiki thing. To the left of them, parked in a car with the lights off, though, is the second team. So the first team like wheels out of there, and the second one pulls out and like gets the survivors. It's crazy.
Yeah, I just saw that. They made.
I didn't know the
they
whole
were
thing was
dead.
there. Then they come up with G18s. Yeah, fucking fully automatic Glock pistols, which I see those far too much now on like social media. It's a real flex. And
is it easy to convert?
Yeah. And it's just these. I think it's 3 little pieces, but one of them's a bolt or like a pin, really. So it's just a little bit of aluminum and steel, and you've got a fully automatic Glock, and then those mags are everywhere. Those 33, 31, 32, something like that round mags. And then I think drums have been coming out more and more. They used to be the drum I shot a decade ago was handmade. Like nobody sold a drum.
A decade ago, they were a little unreliable. I don't know. If I was to conduct a quickie mart murder, I don't know that I'd go drum because maybe I'm out of date.
Who fucking knows? I wouldn't. But it's scary as hell to see those things.
Dude, those cartels are so scary. They really are. They got me with those. Dude, that picture of the dude's head on like a fucking old Chevy hood where like all the skin's been peeled off. I could see that right now. I haven't seen that picture in 12 years. I remember seeing it online and being like, "Oh,
I got a movie."
Oh,
Dude,
it's horrible.
Cartels are scary, but like nothing is remotely as scary as the United States military. Like nothing comes close. I think it was Schwarzkopf who had this quote, who's like, "I like the United States Army. I like them so much. The more soldiers that are around me, the happier I am." And I think he was in Iraq at the time. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. I'm a little happy with 20,000 of them, and I'm really happy with 120,000 soldiers around me. And like the shit we can do, just the remote flipping people's light switches off.
The reason epic. So
the reason I think that the United States is so scary is because our intelligence,
because we're an evil empire.
Don't say that out loud. You know, Star Wars were the bad guys, right? You know that, right? It was made.
I heard that was about Vietnam.
It's about
we're
Vietnam,
the empire,
and we're the empire.
Is that true?
That's 100% true. George Lucas has said that. It's absolutely true.
Yeah, that's why I said.
But it's poppycock. What's scary about the United States is like of course they can go like turn your government upside down and put in their own if they want to, and not just a little country, but like a medium-sized country, and we can kind of do it in the background, right? Like there are no nurses like who couldn't buy my fancy handbag this month because imports are being sunk in the Atlantic. No, the imports aren't being sunk in the Atlantic. It's business as usual while we upend your medium-sized country. What's scary though for the individual, because who cares what happens over there? We're over here, yay. They could scoop you up if you happen to be one of the billion men whose first name's Muhammad and last name sounds like something scary, and send you to one of those black sites that we have all over the world, where we basically go to one of the countries that you think we wouldn't normally do a lot of business with, but it turns out we can be like, hey, we want 20,000 square feet in the corner of one of your military bases on this weird little desert country you have. We'll do our thing there. Don't ask any questions. And they're just in there torturing the fuck out of people. And not only that, we'll just turn them over to like the Saudis. Like, hey, you don't want to talk to us? You can talk to the Saudis. They'll pull your fingernails out and like rape your butthole with a camel or some shit. They'll do whatever they want.
That's why we're the GOAT. That's why we're the GOAT of all time, dude. That's why we fucking won.
Dude,
really that shit in Vegas, that's esoteric. Don't read into that. Yeah.
Did you do a documentary on that? A video on
that's a good idea.
Shooting?
That's a really good idea to do on YouTube. I think they'd approve of everything I have to say about that.
Yeah, after that you could do 9/11 and you could do all sorts of videos that they would love and that you wouldn't get taken down for. Waco, Ruby Ridge.
Yeah,
Should we rate
that'd be really
people at
wise.
Abu Ghraib?
Abu Ghraib. Yeah, that's where. Yeah.
I think we may have put objects in their bums occasionally.
What's rapey is a little interesting, right? Like it even varies state to state. In New York, for instance, I just happen to know this because of the Trump stuff.
Yeah.
It's not rape unless you use your penis.
That's true. Yeah.
I agree.
Really?
It's sodomy.
You can use a drumstick. I'm trying to say broomstick, a dildo, your fingers. It's not rape. It's just sexual assault.
Huh.
I've got a good movie for you about the cartel, though. If you've never seen Sicario,
I've seen Sicario. I saw it in theaters, so probably 10 years ago.
Josh
I remember it being all
Brolin,
right.
Benicio del Toro, and John Krasinski's wife, whatever her fucking name is. It's real good. It's they formed this team to go topple a cartel in Mexico, and they've got like a lady FBI agent, a CIA agent, and just an assassin. And it's very good. There's a part where they need to get some intelligence out of a cartel leader, and they've taken him back to the U.S. And Benicio del Toro walks in with a big jug of water, and everybody assumes he's gonna waterboard the guy. They even mentioned like one of the guys had been giving him water. He's like, "Oh, you filled his belly up with water, you dirty dog." And everybody's like, "Yeah, he's gonna waterboard him. Let's leave him to it." And then he doesn't open the water. Benicio del Toro just rapes him.
Did they get answers?
They got all the answers. Taylor.
Yeah, the answers were yes, yes, oh God, yes.
Yeah, that was the answer.
They got all.
It's not so bad.
My plan.
Greg Giraldo has that great bit about the idea of like, oh, he's just gonna spend it on booze, and like, can you blame him? Like, look at his life. Can you blame him? And but the thing that a lot of people will do irresponsibly is they go, hey, we just got $1,000. We can finally take that vacation we've been wanting.
That's what they're gonna do. That's what I said at the beginning of the show. That's what they're gonna do.
But what I'm saying is that they might take that vacation and go to Mexico or Thailand. Oh, this is fuck. I should have thought of it. They're all gonna take the vacation to Mexico. Mexico's economy will get great. They won't want us coming over anymore. They'll pay for the wall. Holy shit. It's
they'll build
chess.
They'll build the wall on Mexican land. Right?
It's 10D chess. Yeah. They don't want the disease coming over.
Maybe 11.
They'll yeah. I think actually the best thing that they did in terms of trying to curb immigration is line the border with some of the shittiest states. Brilliant move. Arizona? Come on.
How dare you? How dare you? American Southwest is a gym.
Which state are you standing up for right now?
Turquoise.
Is it Texas?
Dry heat.
New Mexico.
Dude, I went to was I on the show after I did the Texas tour? I don't remember if I was there, if I was on last after or before.
I don't remember.
But I did. Did I tell you the story about Laredo?
I don't remember.
We did a show in Laredo, and our hotel was on the border. Like outside my window, like you could see the human rights violations outside my window. It was the tents were just below. Like we had a balcony that we could overlook the tents. It was crazy. And so a couple things. One, I looked that up because I was like, oh my God, are those the like separating families tents? Those are the courthouse tents. So Laredo only has the courthouses, but the city of Laredo offered the U.S. government a very nice building for $1 lease for 100 years. And they said no, because they want the fucking tents because they're scary.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
And so
it's
theater. The other thing is my buddy Radu that opened for me, Radu Bondar. He's Romanian. He grew up in Romania, and he wanted to go over to Nuevo Laredo, and you know, people were like, it's dangerous, you shouldn't go. He's like, look, I'm from the shit. Okay, I've seen way worse. Like, I'm from Romania. I'll be fine. And he's talking to some guy at a bar, and the guy takes a puff on a cigarette, doesn't even look at him, looks like through him, and just goes, the way they will kill you is so horrific. And Radu was just like, all right, you know what, never mind. I'm fine.
You will find out what your testicles taste like.
Yeah. I asked someone, because I was curious too, and because we could walk over, and I was curious, and I asked someone who worked at the hotel, and I was like, hey, is it, you know, are they making it up? Is it as dangerous as they say? And she's like, you don't want to go there. And I was like, but what about during the day? I'm sure it'll be fine. She goes, you don't want to go there. And she's like, I have family there. And I was like, do you not see them? And she goes, no, I live there. You don't want to go there. was like, oh fuck. All right, fair
It's
enough.
easier for them to find you in the daytime, senor.
Yeah.
I have the same
Go at
feelings.
night so you can hide.
It's almost
Yeah, and by the way, it's not like it's all Mexico. It's just the border towns are fucking rough.
I know.
Are they really rough? Like if I went there, would something happen? I know, but like I think Steve also shares this disbelief with me. Like, surely you can exist in these.
No, I didn't think that, but apparently in some of these border cities, and not all of them, but in some of them, and Nuevo Laredo is one of them, the police force is just gone. It is absolutely run by the cartels. And so if you drive over, walking over is the safest thing you can do, because if you drive over, they will lock your car in. Like 2 people drive up on the side of you, 2 people drive up in front and behind you, and you're done. And so
they do what?
There's steal your car and possibly you. It's just completely run. Like, those towns don't have a police presence. Have you ever been to Camden, New Jersey? It's very similar.
Many times. Yeah.
So it's
that's where I was born.
You were born in Camden?
Yep.
Oh my God, local boy makes good. And so like it's something where, look, you're not guaranteed to be assaulted. You're not guaranteed to be mugged, but the odds are pretty fucking high. The odds are like an 85-year-old getting coronavirus high. Like, it is rough. And I didn't know any of this because I thought it was all hyped up. And then I did a lot of research when I was going to go over there. And not only was I there, but I was also, because we did a whole tour. We were in El Paso, which is also a border town right on the other side of Juarez. And then I was in, what was the other one I was in? Yuma, which is bordered. I forget what the Mexican city is on the other side. But these are all border towns, and like I looked up all the stats, and not only that, I was on when I was in one of them, I was on Tinder, and I matched with someone on the other side of the border, and she was going to come over to see the show. She's going to come over to see the show, and she's like, I can't, and I was like, why? And she goes, because and whatever the word is, I looked it up. It basically means like SUVs or whatever are out, which means like that's the criminals driving around, and it's not safe to go out of your house.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that she wanted you to come to her, and I'm like, I bet that's a thing that happens.
I'm sure that's a thing that happens.
Like dudes over to come over the border, and then just like, well, we have you now, senor.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Check. I people have made fun of me before for saying that. It's like, it seems pretty dangerous down there. I don't think I'd want to go. I don't think I want to go. Increased risk. I'm not saying they snatch up every American, because people are like, I went, it was fun. And it's like, yeah, okay, all right. I'm not going though, because I'm sure a lot of people go and they're kidnapped or they're dismembered or they.
Yeah, there are also people who do handstands on skyscrapers, and they're fine. And then there are some people who fell off the fucking building, and I'm not willing to up my odds. There's no reason.
Yeah, an unnecessary risk. Look, there's nothing so nice in Mexico worth that risk. Okay.
Well, one of the things I said to Radu, and I have this made it to a video where I was like, I don't think we should go. And he's like, why not? And I said, because this is what the American side looks like. Like, have you seen this place? I do think that, and it is weird, like Laredo, especially, I've never felt more like I was not in America while in America than in Laredo. Like Laredo may as well have been in Mexico. There was very little English spoken there. There were very, very few signs. And I mean, a couple blocks that are right by the border. You get 5 miles north and you start going to the malls and shit. It's completely different. But I mean, like there's like this 2 or 3 block section of like Mercado that's basically right on the U.S. side of the border that does not look like America at all. It's a fascinating place. And by the way, the people there couldn't have been nicer. It was one of the best hospitalities we got anywhere we went. And there are plenty of places in Mexico that are perfectly safe right now, but the border ain't one of them.
I think I've been within 30 miles, 40 miles. That's about as close as I've gotten. We were out on a ranch that was about 30 miles, I think. I want to say that was the number, 20, 30, 40 miles, somewhere in there from the border. That's as close as I've been.
No, man.
Nice
you haven't been to Mexico?
Desolate.
What?
I asked Kyle, you haven't been to Mexico?
No.
I drove to Mexico, but
I've been twice.
It was a long time ago, so things may be different.
Yeah, I've been twice. Both were in like kind of resorty areas. so it's not the same.
What's
But
the Mexican place right by San Diego?
Tijuana.
That's where I went. Tijuana.
Yeah. And that's not safe now, but oddly enough, Tijuana is one of the safer border towns. Juarez is better than it was, but that doesn't mean it's good. El Paso is very different because El Paso is an enormous city. I think it's like the 5th most populous in Texas, and so that's very different because Juarez is right next to El Paso, but at the same time, but like if you go to a smaller one, like, and that's why Laredo is so interesting because Laredo is a pretty small city. And so it is mainly just a border town. It's not like it's, El Paso has like a huge college and fucking tons of sporting events and big concerts and shit. And that's not Laredo. It's crazy.
I have paramotor friends that live near the border, and they fly over it all the time like it's nothing. I'm like, I don't think you can do that.
Like which part of the border? That's not legal. That's not legal at all. But
they theoretically fly over it all the time.
Yeah, but there's
We
also
would like your name, senor.
Yeah. There's also that huge stretch of border. It's so funny when people are like, build that wall. There's that huge stretch of border. We drove next to it for a while where it's like, no one's walking over this. What the fuck wall are you going to build through these mountains, man?
Is it that hard to walk over?
There are sections of the border where it's just mountains and desert. And like, if you can get through that, motherfucker, I want you as part of my country. If you are tough enough to get through that part, absolutely. You are tough enough to be one of us.
It should be there should be an opening that we call the Gauntlet as a way to earn your citizenship.
That is the path to citizenship.
Exactly. It's based on athletic ability only. Mountain climbing.
Yeah.
And some assholes with paramotors do it easily.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's the steroids of that.
Hey.
Yeah,
So wait, was this during a time like when you're telling these El Chapo jokes? Was this during a time when it was he was like on the loose? He's broken out of prison. It's possible as a baller and a Mexican national, he's in that audience.
Dude, not only was it possible, he had been seen in Cabo in one of the developments on the grounds of Esperanza, man. Like he was. And they got there and it was like, no, dude, he just left. It was like always the case with us. No, he was here like 10 minutes ago.
And we're live.
But yeah, let's get right into it. Got a special guest tonight. We've got our new friend, John Henson, comedian, host extraordinaire, and apparently one of the most professional vacationers on the planet. Sounds like you figured out vacationing.
Yeah, man. If I could go vacationing full time, I'd be on it, man.
So explain that gig you were explaining to us. Are you willing to? I kind of just threw it out there. That was kind of a private conversation we had. Is that something? Tell us about the money you made.
It's not shady. So for about 6 years now, my wife and I have been working with an orphanage in Cabo San Lucas, helping them raise money. Right. I have a sister-in-law who works at 5-star resorts in Cabo. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I tell people this all the time. If you ever get the chance to marry into a family where someone works at a 5-star resort, you learn to love them. Do you understand? You make that shit work. Now, as a result, we got to spend a ton of time at this beautiful resort in Cabo San Lucas called Esperanza. It's this gorgeous 5-star resort down there. And we got to spend all this time down there and develop some relationships. We got to know the people at this orphanage, and I started going down and hosting these fundraisers. And it's an amazing experience. The kids are there. I'm sort of partial to kids charities. Anytime you're connecting a face with the actual cause and their children, it's hard not to get invested. So we go down there, and in a span of like an hour and a half, we'll raise $500,000. I mean, it's serious money. It's maybe 150, 200 people at this event. And there are moments where like a dude will raise a paddle and give $100,000 or $150,000. And it's a pretty inspirational experience. And so this year we were down there, and the guy that underwrites the event
is this awesome guy, this older guy. And at one point I go, hey, I just wanted to tell you, Mr. Peterson, I'm so humbled by your generosity. And he goes, yeah, it's just good to be rich. And I was like, great attitude. And so the event went really well, and then the next day my wife and I were hanging out, and like the people that organize this event are really nice. They give us like 4 or 5 days down there in a really nice hotel. So just that, I worked for an hour, call it fundraising or charity work, and then I spend 4 days on the beach with my fat ass in the sun. So
what would happen if you turn this fundraising superpower you have inward, right? If you held a John Henson fundraiser, like call it your beer fund, I don't care. Even if it did half as well, that's $250,000. Like,
yeah, no, it's apparently what I need to do is do a stunning impression of a Mexican 4-year-old, because those kids really jerk the the heartstrings, so gets no assistance from the Mexican government. They exist entirely on the generosity of donors. And they're in Mexico, it's a very weird audience. There are a lot of wealthy Mexican nationals, and then there are a lot of like wealthy expat Americans, or not even expats, but just people who have like a 3rd or 4th or 5th home in Cabo. And if you have like a 4th home that costs $5 or $10 million, you're balling. You know what I mean? And
here's what I want to know about the show you're doing down there. Are you going to roll out the Trump jokes? Is this the right audience for that down south of the border?
It's interesting. I mean, this year, like, first of all, I'm not a political comic, but this year the event organizers pulled me aside and they're like, do not do any political humor at all, because the audience, like, you're losing half your audience. The wealthy Mexican nationals obviously hate the idea of the wall, and they feel like he's been very derogatory towards Mexicans. And then of course, odds are, if you're a person who has 5 homes and your 5th one costs $10 million, you might be a Republican. So it's just dicey. And last year, not this past year, but the year before, I did a bunch of El Chapo jokes, and because like he had
did that go over well?
Bold
move.
You
could hear, like, you could just feel the collective asshole of the room tighten. Like everybody's, oh! And it was, he had just escaped from prison, and Woody's coughing up a lung.
but I muted it, so the audience has no idea.
So wait, was this during a time, like when you're telling these El Chapo jokes, was this during a time when it was he was like on the loose, he's broken out of prison? It's possible, as a baller and a Mexican national, he's in that audience.
Dude, not only was it possible, he had been seen in Cabo, in one of the developments on the grounds of Esperanza, man. Like, and they got there and it was like, no, dude, he just left. It was like always the case with us. No, he was here like 10 minutes ago. So, and of course, like, this was like when he had broken out through the toilet, you know what I mean? And I was like, dude, you got, like, he rode a motorcycle out of the toilet like that. What? I can't flush a tampon. This guy got a Suzuki down the fucking toilet, but so like that alone made people, I was like, come on, get it together, Mexico. This year they were like, no jokes. So I just worked the room and stuff. And I mean, it's a very, very generous audience. And then the day after, I get this email from a guy that introduced himself as the Petersons' house manager. And he said, the Petersons have requested your presence for dinner this evening. We'll send a car for you at 5. And so my wife and I were like, oh, shit. And so we went to dinner with these guys. Super, super nice people. They had, like, some of their kids there and kids' relatives, and they were all around our age. We had a great dinner. And then this guy just goes, my wife and I are so appreciative of the work you've done. We wanted to offer you the use of our estate in Aspen for a week as a way of
the
saying,
estate in Aspen, eh?
I was like, okay. And so that was nuts. And then Steve Hofstetter, who you guys know, a good friend, mutual friend of ours. There was another charity in Cabo that had asked me to host their fundraiser, but it was too close to the date of Casa Hogar, this orphanage that I do. And so Casa Hogar was like, two fundraisers in a small town, on 2 consecutive nights. We'd like you to pass up on it. So I booked Hofstetter, and I dropped by that. And the woman that was hosting that fundraiser was like the Mexican Joan Collins. Like, she was just this fabulous, wealthy Mexican woman.
What a great description. Go on.
Dude, the house, it was like walking into Architectural Digest magazine. It was sick. You got to ask Steve about it. It was like just walking into her entryway was like this open air atrium with a fountain. It was like, you live like this? And so we were talking to him for a little while, and this lady was having a good time talking to my wife, and she goes, "You guys are so nice. Thank you so much for introducing us to Steve and getting him to host for us. You'll have to come down and spend a week at one of my resorts."
Yeah, see, all right, I'm catching on to you, Mr. Henson. I see this. I bet you've been conditioned like a Halloween sort of thing at this point. You're watching TV, flipping through the channels. You see those orphans come on. You immediately get so happy. You're like, oh, I'm glad that's out there somewhere.
John's trying to play it off. You're trying to play it off like you're just Mr. Beaning and falling ass backwards into these vacations. Now, these are calculated maneuvers. Am I going to do the show at the Ice House, or am I going to go to the, fucking Ritz in Hawaii?
Honey, there's a tsunami. Another one. Come here quick.
Why?
You ever been to the South Pacific?
Why did they go into the entertainment industry? There's no money in the entertainment industry. Philanthropy. It's all in philanthropy. So then we got home from this whole trip, and then I got a phone call from the GM of Esperanza, and he was like, "Hey, we really enjoyed your show. Would you like to come back and spend a week? We got a villa put aside for you and your family, and you could do a few shows down here." So, there's one sort of like, yeah, sure, I'd love to host your fundraiser, has turned into like 3 weeks of vacation. It's crazy.
I feel like people that hate rich people just don't know enough of them. They're fantastic. I've never had a bad night hanging out with rich people. It's glorious. They're very sweet.
I gotta tell you, man, the people with money down there feel, to me, very different than the people with money in LA. Like, in LA, wealthy people kind of want you at arm's reach. They want to be a little removed and a little cloistered. In Cabo, I kind of felt like everybody is sort of on permanent vacation, and the people that had a ton of money were just in this kind of like, yeah, man, it's awesome. I got some money. You want to do something fun? Like, this woman that was hosting, the Mexican Joan Collins, when I said, well, we're going to have to leave now. They were having a plated dinner, and Steve was going to perform. They were going to do their fundraiser, and my wife and I were going to scoot out. I go, we're going to leave. We got to meet some friends for dinner. And she goes, why? You can't leave. Where are they? I'll send a car for them right now. I'll send my driver. Like, it was just like, oh, you're just throwing money around. Like, I'll send my driver, bring them here. It was crazy.
To be fair, though, how much does sending a driver cost there compared to one in LA?
That might not be a variable cost for her, right? She might have the driver just there all the time, and it doesn't cost her extra to send
Just
him.
a constant taxi running.
Yeah. She just.
That's a good point too.
The driver was waiting out there for her, and,
I've never seen somebody do like the $100,000
fucking job.
Like, I feel like no matter how you see the $100,000 card you're talking about, of like, oh, throw 150. Like, my first response would be like, oh, fuck you. Like, that is so much money. And then my other response is like, fuck you the other way, because you just threw up 150, no problem. Why don't you really see when it hurts? Throw up 400. Is that smile still as big? Did you get your vindication there, or is that a little too much?
It's funny, man. You could tell. First of all, I always encourage everybody to get drunk at a fundraiser, as I call it, liquid generosity. You know what I mean? You get a few cocktails in you, and suddenly you're like, you know what? And then the next morning, oh my god,
casino concept.
But dude, my wife got a few glasses of wine in her, and she was bidding on a 3-day stay at the one and only Palmilla, which is another 5-star resort down in Cabo. It's actually where we had our first date 10 years ago. Excuse me. And it was kind of funny because I'm hosting, like, I'm doing the auction, and my wife is bidding, and part of me is like, oh Jesus, please God, somebody outbid my wife. And then when I realized, oh no, she's like drunk enough that she's not going to be outbid, then I was like, please stop bidding against my wife, because she's gonna want to. So she ended up getting us a 3-day weekend at the one and only Palmilla, and the GM of the one and only Palmilla, Peter Bowling, was in the audience, and of course I immediately started going, by the way, Mr. Bowling, if you want to upgrade, it's totally up to you. I would never call you out in front of all these people. And certainly, if you don't upgrade us, it won't come up next year. So who knows when I get there what we're going to be walking into.
Yeah, you might not have a room at all.
Wow.
God, my life sucks dick.
Dude, I gotta tell you, this place, these places are so dialed in. There's three places in Cabo that we've stayed through these guys, and like the one and only Palmilla. So we had our first date there 10 years ago, and there was a sommelier at this restaurant called Agua, and we saw this guy maybe 2 or 3 years after our first date, and he remembered us, right? Because my wife's like super chatty Catholic. So I go, Manuel, I don't know if you'll remember us, but we sat in Agua, and he goes, I remember you sat at table 31 and you drank and like, he remembered the white wine my wife drank at dinner almost 3 years earlier. That floored me. I was like, this dude is like Rain Man,
He had to carry the garbage bag full of all the empty bottles.
And believe me, it was the first date. There were a lot of empty bottles. You know what I mean?
That's really impressive.
Yeah, no, it was amazing, man. It was, and then
what happened to him that night? Like that's what we don't know. Is like that was also the night that something horrible happened to him. Like he's like,
yeah.
he's like, yes, this was also the night that my wife was murdered. Right before my eyes. Enjoy your evening.
El Chapo actually murdered his family. Yeah. No, there was another place that we stayed called Las Ventanas, and they have an office called the Romance Department, right? And so my wife and I were down there, probably, I guess it would have been a couple of years ago, and we had this villa that had a little rooftop patio, and I decided that we were going to renew our vows, right? So I called the romance department and I said, hey, could you get me like a guitarist and put some flowers and some champagne up there and stuff like that. Yeah, it's crazy, right? It literally is like it's a sign out in front of it that says romance department. So look, it's one thing you ask them to book you like a guitarist and get some flowers and champagne. That's pretty generic. But so they walked us. We walked up there, and the guitarist was waiting for us, and we renewed our vows, and then we went out to dinner. By the time we got home from dinner, so you're talking about 2.5 hours, right? They had a photographer, because we were on a rooftop patio. They had a photographer with a telephoto lens take a photo of us, and it was blown up and framed in our room by the time we got back.
That's nice.
This is the kind of stuff that would happen to you on a vacation spot, like 2 scenes before you find out you're going to be hunted.
Yes,
like this is like the level of building you up, and yet you think this picture's for you. Nay,
Right.
this goes in the private foyer with all the others.
This is like the scene in the trailer. This would be the scene right before. It's just the POV of my wife running through the woods, Yeah, Blair Witch style footage of just branches and leaves in her face and her screaming. But yeah, it was that really impressed me. Like I was like, man, you guys blew up this picture and framed it. Oh, and they had a hot bath waiting for us with rose petals leading and candles. So So this is the way I'm trying to like back time it in my head, like, because it was a piping hot bath. So I'm like, so they basically had to, because they made the reservations for us for dinner.
Pedro's hiding under the sink.
Well, they had to basically say to this is the only way that it could have been done. They had to say to the restaurant, call us the moment they pay their bill, so that during their 20-minute cab ride home, we have the time to draw a bath and have it waiting so that it's hot. Like, it had to be coordinated. It was just, that was the kind of thing to me where I was like, oh, well done. You know what I mean? How do you do that, you know?
It'd be like a 30-minute one of those Scorsese shots where it doesn't stop and everybody's like handing stuff, and you realize like 5 minutes in, you're like, God damn, like this hasn't stopped in 5 minutes. It's hard.
No edits.
No edits, just a streamlined thing. I don't know if I'd be comfortable getting in a pre-drawn bath in Mexico.
I wouldn't. I'm too mistrusting. I'm too mistrustful. It just wouldn't happen. They're like, hey, I've got a big piping hot vat of a liquid I'd like you to hop into in a foreign country. And I was like, well, I wasn't even here when you prepared that.
The
what
guy
if it's
who drew
sulfuric acid?
The guy who drew the bath for you has just spent all day.
What if El Chapo is in the closet, fucking watching, waiting on you to hop in your sulfuric?
There's the Colombian necktie, and then there's the Cabo bath. Those are the two different ways.
And it's not like this was some masseuse who came in and gently drew it. This was a guy who just got back from waiting in line at Kinko's and is furious, sprints up there, desperately trying to get it. He'll spit in it. I don't
I'll tell you, man, on a night like that, when you have an experience like that, you're like, you look at your wife, you're like, if I don't get laid tonight, I can't spade higher than this.
You've seen my A game.
I bet, not that you ever would, but I guarantee if you call that romance department and explain that you needed another person sent up, they could probably make that happen as well. You could be like, I need a young lady sent up.
Sure. Chop, gingerbread. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
They have a plan B. If all of the romance department fails, they have a built-in insurance policy. You send it to a new broad.
You call the romance department like,
I really get a kick out of that.
Yeah.
All this crap and I still haven't gotten laid. Romance, what you got? Send something up. Some chocolates, some girls, whatever.
It seems like it would almost...
in Mexico, a manual release is pronounced Manuel release, just so you know.
A Manuel release. A little more expensive.
Yeah.
But you get company. So there's that. Yeah.
For the exchange rate, though, it's worth it.
It is true that one of the leading causes of death in our country is fucking fentanyl. And it seems like Mexican drug cartels and China, to some extent, are responsible for that. So I'm all for declaring those cartels terror groups or whatever we need to call them, and then dropping bombs over there. Because why not? I like
especially on Mexico.
fireworks show.
I'm a dumbass. I don't know what happens if Mexico gets mad at us, but
fuck all.
It seems like we could kill Mexican criminals, and Mexican politicians might be like, "Well, what are you gonna do?
Just send a bunch of SEAL Team 6s down there."
No, airstrike. That's what Vivek was talking about. Like a lot of people on the Republican side are talking about airstriking them because we know where they are. It's not it's Afghanistan and the cartels hide in caves. They're like over there.
There will be though. You lay some airstrikes, and in 6 weeks they'll be underground and hidden, and they have unlimitless money.
I mean, they have to do something about.
More than likely, what they will do is they'll just turn over their leadership, make a deal with us, and not put fentanyl in their cocaine anymore. Because that's what we want. We're okay with them selling the cocaine. Clearly,
we just don't want better products.
They need to make better cocaine.
Product.
Well, you know what? Alternatively,
the American way is installing a super drug leader who is like just sells
a
cocaine
drug czar
and doesn't adulterate it.
Hot take. I'm okay with fentanyl in there. You just have to tell people what the dosages are so that they don't hurt themselves. The problem is when you sneak. Fentanyl's amazing. When you sneak in
drug,
unknown amounts of fentanyl to get people a little extra high.
Yeah, you don't want fentanyl. It's too easy to fucking die.
What do they give you before surgery? It might be
morphine.
fentanyl.
I don't know.
He's talking about the stuff that makes you feel like silly and happy and like you don't mind being killed right now. If that's
fentanyl's
what they
killed
do.
like what? It's like in the six figures.
It's because
I only know because you always say
they think it might be propofol. They think they're taking one thing and they're getting something else.
Yeah.
You should be able to buy fentanyl and just dose it properly.
And like I think some people think of it as like, oh, it's those heroin users, and that that could never affect me. But sometimes it's pills. Like somebody will just be buying like
it's like a fake pressed Xanax.
Yeah, they're looking for a party drug or like a chill the fuck out drug or just like take the edge off something. It's often like kids. It'll be some 17-year-old that thought he was getting Xanax or thought he was getting something recreational, and he just dies. You know, that's so I'm all for the airstriking thing because I think that's fucking cool. And at least we'd be using our military for something that matters. Like we'd be
something that's directly impacting hundreds of thousands of Americans, killing them.
Yeah.
Boys, we don't do that in this country. All right.
Yeah, we gotta protect Ukraine.
Yeah.
We gotta
get with it,
up
Kyle.
for Ukraine.
And we need to kill Palestinians for some reason.
Fascist loving Woody.
That's so funny to be like, you fascist, you don't want to impose our military might on whole regions of the world. What are you?
We're the good guys. Clearly,
what are you, gay?
Oh, come on. Come on now. If these were video game like countries, you'd be all for this. It's only because it's our tax dollars that are at stake that you care. That you're taking this side.
That we have a financial stake in it as Americans. Yes, that does make me care about
the Ukrainians, and the Ukrainians are saying, leave us alone. And we're saying, we're
saying we fund it forever.
Yeah,
no,
as
none
long
of
as we
that.
need
Taylor, a couple decades, you exaggerate.
Couple decades, and then eventually we'll pull out, and nothing will have changed.
We want to lose wars very slowly.
We are the #1 country on earth at losing wars slowly. No one comes close. We're the absolute best at it. Swish after swish after swish.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we'll have a banging KD ratio during the loss.
During the loss, we do not play the objective.
Maybe have you ever considered our objectives are different though? Like I bet we're profiting all the while, and I bet we're racking up those kills. I feel like our soldiers are so fucking good. Somebody mentioned Italy's military the other day. I think it was one of those fantasy realms. All right, another fantasy story. We'll get off the politics a little bit. Here's the good fantasy story. You'll like this one, Taylor. Like the humans are invaded by elves, dwarves, and orcs.
Okay, I'm in.
Turns out all that shit was real, and they exist in another dimension that's like right against our dimension, however that works.
Yeah.
And they open these portals and fucking invade, and they've got dragons, and they are burning the Mexican cities. They invade in like Portugal. Yes, it's like modern day. And so like the dwarves are attacking like Southeast Asia, I think, like burning villages, and their dragons are eating people. And I think maybe the elves are in Mexico, and they conquered like already a third of Mexico in this crazy war with their dragons burning everything. And then like the U.S. military shows up and they just kill them all. They've got F-18, so they murder all the dragons.
I was like, dragons have a range of like
it was a coordinated attack. Like
70-foot range attack in arid battles is nothing.
It's terrible.
Great. At first, I'm listening to it and I'm like, damn, I wish our militaries could do something about this. And then they're like, and then the military showed up. And the dwarves couldn't really do much about that because they had machine guns. And
dude, I'm pretty sure the cartels could have handled that.
At the end of the story, they're like, and now I'm in the army, and I'm on a troop transport looking through our own portal at their purple, filthy sky. We're going in. And it's like, oh man, I kind of want to see. That's the kind of movie that I wish that I would actually watch. Like that sounds fun to me, that like the elves and the orcs invaded our realm and they made a huge mistake, like Pearl Harbor, and then like we're just not gonna show mercy.
Well, the movie would be like the elves and the dwarves started invading because the orcs had taken over their homeland, and then there was some sort of stalemate reached, and the agreement was that the modern army would have to go back and join them to fight the orcs, and only then would they stay in their own domain.
No, I want to kill them all. I like to kill them all. I'm feeling very xenophobic of late. That's another thing I like about those Helldiver games in general, just the pure xenophobia of it all. They like kill them all, anything that isn't a human.
Well, that would do a lot to the cartel violence, I think. It's
only
right.
That is some sweet oceanfront property right there.
Those cartels in Mexico, they're just moving weed, right?
I've
pretty
seen
much
Breaking
More than
primarily?
weed. More than weed.
Oh,
No,
it's
they
more
got,
than
like,
weed.
coke and
Yeah.
women
Okay.
and people.
There's
There's a lot
that's like
guns.
I thought who is the guy from Colombia? Who is the big El Jefe from Colombia? Who
Pascabar.
Right.
Pablo Escobar.
Pablo Escobar,
Pablo
right?
Escobar. Yeah. I was just throwing out Colombian sounding syllables.
But those people in those cartels in Mexico, man, that is some hardcore gangsta shit.
Yes.
Like we're gonna
Breaking Bad, man.
chainsaw you in the middle of the street.
Seen it?
Fuck it. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? We're just gonna.
Yeah, they're more
you
powerful
arrested
than
them.
the army. Like that's ridiculous. The fact that the cartel is not afraid of law enforcement is next level stuff. In the United States, every criminal is very much concerned about law enforcement. Even an individual cop, they typically don't want to shoot an individual cop because they know the kind of trouble that brings. You know, even if there's 9 of us and we're all armed to the tooth and there's one cop, they know you fuck with that cop and the like they will change your life. It's gonna happen. They're going to continue to go after you, and until they feel that they have nothing to be mad about anymore. And in Mexico, apparently that's not the case. It's strange to me that they're not afraid of the police.
Even here, I mean,
Mexico's funny. Period. It's funny. I was listening to something and they made out an observation. If you do a crime like over in Britain or something, they will send your ass back to the United States. You do a crime in Mexico, you don't get to come back to the United States.
oh, they'll prosecute you there. If
Yeah,
you're
they'll fucking hold you there.
Good, I like that. Mexico's like, no, you're staying in our prisons.
I
Have
don't
fun.
like that.
I would not want to be in a Mexican prison.
You might as well shoot me there.
Yeah, so don't do
Yeah.
Just legalize it, put them out of business,
You
or
said
or
don't
make
do
them
drugs.
businessmen instead of gangsters.
they
Make them
smuggle,
businessmen.
but they smuggle women and people and guns. It's not just like weed.
But I mean, you know, if they
I-
don't need to smuggle drugs,
That's an interesting thought. If they could make enough money through legalized weed, maybe they'd get out of the women smuggling business.
Nah, I don't think so. I think the women smuggling business is really high profit.
Yeah.
Really? How much does a woman go for? Just, I mean, hypothetically.
Shit, I don't know. How much does a woman cost? That's the real question.
How many pesos we talking here?
They might be cheaper.
I think they're free, and you can sell them for 10 grand.
Wait.
That's
a woman for 10
You know what they
grand?
are? They're a lot more expensive and not as fun as a Delta 6. Right now. Leave the link in the description. Go get yourself entered into that giveaway. Trust me, you want one of these bad boys just for the case itself. Carry it around.
You don't have to smuggle
Go to
a
the
Delta
airport
6.
with it, maybe.
You don't have to smuggle a Delta 6. You just sign up and try to win one.
Mm-hmm. Go protect our borders with it.
Might
Don't do
work.
that. No, go
Try
play
it.
in your fucking garage. Don't go to the border with.
No, I mean, who knows? Maybe you'll scare them off. Give it a go.
With the bright orange tip at the end, you'll scare them right off.
Now you spray paint that. You spray paint that, and you're all good. They're like, what are those buttons on the side? Nothing. Don't worry about it. It's like that. Did you ever see The Fifth Element? It's like that gun.
It's advanced stuff right here.
Oh, yeah, that thing was badass.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was.
Now, Real Killer, when he picked up the ZRX-20, would have immediately asked about the little red button on the bottom of the gun.
Little red button. A little red button.
Little red button.
Oh, what a great movie that was.
It appears that Westboro Baptist Church, the people that protest funerals and things like that, they're going to Iraq to protest ISIS.
No, they're not.
I wish them well. I wish them Godspeed.
They're totally not going.
The famously hateful religious organization known for their grand publicity stunts has decided they are going to fly to Iraq and protest ISIS. After announcing plans to picket Robin Williams' funeral, Australian comedian Adam Hills dared the group to put their money where their mouths are and protest real Christian prosecution in Iraq. They even offered to pick up the cost for their airfare. And it appears that they're going. We accepted. Where are the tickets? So, and ironically, they picketed in Iraq before. Google it. #toldya.
Wow.
#toldya.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, how
See,
awesome.
that's a disgusting organization, but when you see them doing their shit, don't you feel just awful for the children who are involved in it? Where like the disgusting parents are making like a 6-year-old little kid hold up like a, all gays burn in hell or whatever sign they make them do.
If the Westboro Baptist Church
No. Hang on. The next tweet. The next thing, though, it says the tweet was accompanied by a picture of the group supposedly protesting in Iraq, though the setting of the picture was not Iraq.
Google searches do not show any published.
They've never been to Iraq.
Wait, this is a Christian group. They wouldn't lie.
Yeah, exactly. Christian groups don't lie, Kyle. It's against their religion.
Duh. Jesus, Kyle, don't you know anything?
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? How awesome would it be if like ISIS got into a fight with a Mexican cartel and the Westboro Baptist Church went there to protest it? That seems like the perfect combo of people that you want to kill each other.
That's
my.
I'd watch it. I'd watch that video.
Mm.
You know,
provided it was well edited.
wouldn't you? Well, I don't want to watch anything to do with those cartel videos. Those like head sawings, that disgusting, awful dismemberment stuff. It's just
really bad. I don't like that stuff. Yeah, you definitely don't want to. I heard one story where a cartel stopped a busload of people, and I think they were just all innocent. They were just travelers, and I don't remember why they did this to them, but they took them out and they made them all fight gladiatorial style till there was only one left to the death.
Sometimes I think about that. Like I was in line at my bank the other day, and the line was extra long, longer than you'd guess. And
I was in line at my bank. What year is it?
I had I needed a bunch of cash. I was buying Colin's lawnmower. So how do you get like thousands of dollars in cash?
Sell a bunch of drugs generally.
Okay.
But,
fair enough. So anyway, I was in line at my bank and there was a long line, maybe like 20 people in it or so. And I'm like, where do I stack rank in terms of being able to beat all these guys up? Right off the bat, I could take every girl in line. So now it's really just amongst the other men. And half of the men, again, like I narrowed it down. I'm like, all right, that guy's the biggest, right? And he looks like he works in lawn care or something like that. So he's got some, toughness going about him. That guy probably works out the most. I'm assuming none of them are trained. And I'm like, there it is. I think it's the three of us. The three of us would battle it out to figure out who the toughest guy in the teller line is. Am I the only one who has these thoughts?
No, I think about stuff like that too. Like if you're behind a really big looking, like, muscly bodybuilder kind of guy, and you're standing behind him, you're like, if I punch this guy square in the back of his head right now, as hard as I could, would that be enough to take this guy down? Would I win that ensuing battle? Or would that just be a grave error? Where it's like, boom, and then it's like, oh, it didn't do what I thought it would. Yeah, he's just like the cave troll from Lord of the Rings, just like.
Doesn't react at all. He reacts like like a gnat hit him or something. He just slowly turns around and is like, that was a mistake, little man.
Yeah, and he'll say it like it just turns out that he's Russian or like the scariest brand of person. Like, did the breeze come in here very quickly, or what is happening right now? Like,
that's a nice accent right there.
Yeah, I should start a channel. Based on that.
Do you have any guns?
I have not enough to compete with.
Shit. I just sold a Lamborghini that I'm, out of partially the thought of cashing in so that I can go shopping for something here and just find a way. I've had a bunch of flood exotic cars.
So are you seeking out a car because you think there's an opportunity? Because my mind was on the other side. Like, ooh, how does a guy like you avoid this problem?
No, we do seek the problem out because my strategy has always been to buy the worst examples of the coolest cars possible. And so I had and these are freshwater floods, which is considerably better than like the saltwater flood from the hurricane that flooded out Freddie's.
He's already selling, boys. Pitch it, Ed.
Yeah, well, it just means that you have.
You want to get yourself a freshwater flood.
That's it.
It's the best floods on the market.
That's right. Don't mess with them with saltwater stuff. But sometimes they can work. It's a huge, huge thing. We tried to buy a Bugatti that was driven into the Galveston Bay as insurance fraud a couple of years ago, and that car's moved around a bit. But it's going to be a wild market influence, and that's kind of what I always look for. How can you change the perception of these cars? Like for instance, so what I was really selling my cars for a couple of weeks ago, I was trying to sell this Murcielago and a Spiker C8 Laviolette that I bought from Missy Elliott a couple of years ago, because I was trying to buy that Bugatti that I mentioned that Mayweather had for a while. It was the Frankfurt Motor Show car, and then Birdman bought it, and then he gave it to Justin Bieber as a present, and then it got bought by the nephew of these scam artist racing drivers.
Wait, so they gave it to Justin Bieber as a present, then he sold it to somebody's nephew?
Yeah, so then that guy sold it to Mayweather.
Liking this Bieber guy more and more.
That's right. And then I don't know, I'd have to listen to every rap song ever to say that I'd heard a Lil Uzi Vert song, but apparently he owned it for a while. And yeah, so it's like a terrible condition Bugatti with a really cool backstory that would be fun to share at Cars and Coffee. But the guy's just, the price is just stupid. So now it's like, well, maybe I'll go flood car shopping in Dubai because there are going to be a ton of them, and it's unclear how they'll be able to liquidate them.
You know, we're talking about the supercars, but like, I mean, let's call that $1 million for the supercars. At least 10 times as many $100,000 cars got flooded. It's like that insurance market is ruined. Like someone is probably jumping off a building or blowing their brains out over there, right? Like somebody's ruined. It's such a, I don't even know. Look, if you live in Abu Dhabi and there's an option for flood insurance, you would never click it.
Right. Yeah, we ran into that in Atlanta in 2009. There was this massive drought, like Lake Lanier, which is the biggest man-made lake in the United States, was down 30 feet. And Sonny Perdue was the governor at the time, and he had this thing where he came out and had a press conference and said, we need to pray for rain. And
it worked.
And it flooded this city like you could not believe. I mean, there were so many, and you got to think, this is 2009. So the real estate market is in the dumps. And so I remember 2010 is when we bought our first house as a married couple, my wife and I, and half of the houses had flood damage because it rained feet in the matter of a month right after this. And I believe God can do a lot of great things. I don't know that he's responding to Sonny Perdue's requests for such things, but that's it. And it was, so that's a Pagani Utopia that came out like yesterday. And this guy's driving.
That's an ugly car.
It's hideous. It is absolutely awful.
Who's the market for that?
Can you say the name of it again so Zach can find a good picture?
Pagani Utopia. So Horacio Pagani was a designer for Lamborghini. Utopia, like the ridiculous to say that it's the greatest place to ever live or whatever. And so it is, he designed a couple of cars for Lamborghini, the 25th anniversary Countach and the Diablo SE30. And then he went out to build his own car company, and he built a car called the Zonda that came out in 2002 that was incredible. And it's one of the most beautiful modern supercars ever made. And then they made the Huayra that came out in 2014 as a model year in the US. And then this is their third generation car, the Utopia, which is, I think, a terrible regression in styling. If anybody can pull up
it's hideous.
Pagani.
Zach, can you pull up the car from Speed Racer? Because I'm getting nostalgic over it.
You're okay. So you're 100% around the Speed Racer thing, but some of all right, hang on a minute.
But grab a picture of Pagani Zonda. That's a Huayra, which is reasonably okay. But if you go to the generation prior to that, look up a Zonda Cinque, Cinque.
Oh, you can't say that here.
Now we're demonetized.
They call the Asian grocer near me.
That's a heavily modified Zonda. There are more simplistic versions that aren't quite as.
All right, this is that's a Hot Wheels car.
The Speed Racer car.
That's a Hot Wheels car right there. This is sick too, but like you don't want to drive this. Like I don't want to drive this.
Well, but and to be honest, there's a huge market of people who are spending the money that their granddad worked really hard for, that support companies like, Pagani and Koenigsegg and Bugatti and things like that. And, a lot of them are now in the Middle East. And yes, so a lot of these cars are now underwater.
Zach, show that car I linked in the chat. That thing's always appealed to me.
Are there any cars, Ed, where you sit in the middle and there's one seat like a Formula One car?
So the McLaren F1 that came out in '93 was the first, widely known car to have a center seating position. There were some Ferrari concept cars and things like that. They still had two seats flanking them, so it was a 3-seat car. There are a couple of track-only cars, like McLaren just released the Solara that is a single-seat car. Lamborghini had a concept called the Iguista that is a single-seat car. But in general, the F1 is the one that you drive in the center. They made a speed tail limited run of cars that is the same idea, and that is, you know, currently in F1 they made 106 cars, 67 road cars, I think, and they're worth 20-ish million for a road car, and then, you know, the race cars are kind of a little more than that. And those, for people generally our age, you know, under 60 years old, it's the ultimate car. And I think that there'll be $100 million cars before too terribly long, just because it is like as good as it gets. We borrowed one for a production that we did called Car Trek a couple of years ago, and I drove it around a bit, and it's I mean, it's phenomenal. Obviously, it's a 90s car, so the brakes are weak, the exhaust isn't all that great, but it's still as good as it needs to be for a car guy to justify its value, which is kind of the question of any of them. But it was kind of some would say the first hypercar, and it used a BMW V12, 627 horsepower, and it was the fastest car of all time, so 241 miles an hour. That the Bugatti Veyron would eventually beat.
Christ.
Yeah, so they're plenty awesome. Yeah, that's one. That's a low mirror early car, and most of them are silver. There's a lot of other interesting cars. We've chased one for years that was owned by the biggest drug runner for El Chapo, this guy named Humberto Ojeda. It's a brown car with a red interior and gold wheels that was maybe a payment from some Italian clients for some product, but it went into Mexico in like 98. And this guy he owned the car, and he didn't drive it all that much, but he got gunned down in his armored but also gold-plated Jeep Grand Cherokee. And the vehicle got shot like 300 times, but one bullet went in through the lock cylinder and hit him in the abdomen. And so he was able to drive home before he died, and his son was like crouched in the footwell of the car. So he got home, and then he died, and he never told anybody where the keys were to his McLaren F1, and it's been lost since then. And so I've made a handful of videos chasing that exact car, and it's been one of the more compelling storylines.
Trap Lord Whips.
That's it. Yeah. It's a very interesting Instagram account to follow that one, but yeah. So it's the only one in that specification, but we think it's probably still in Mexico.
How much would that be worth if someone found it? I guess maybe it when it's that rare. Does it just come down to like which Saudi sheik wants it the most?
Well, there's a lot of big American car collectors that want them, and so it's if it was free and clear and perfect, it's worth $20 million. But it's been sitting for decades. And the recommissioning of a car like that is millions of dollars. It's got the hair on it of having been a drug lord's car, which some people wouldn't like. I would love. And then there's also the question of if you buy a car from the cartel, then it's sort of like that it came from or an ill-gotten way. And then the question is, well, will the U.S. government seize it from you? And so you'd have to probably call the DEA if you even had it. And there's a lot of people that think I have it stored in my basement, but I don't.
That'd be sweet.
It would be really, really sweet.
As far as they know, you don't.
Yeah, that's right.
Wink,
that's
wink.
Right. We're gonna maintain that narrative as long as we can. And so you probably have to call them and say, all right, what do I have to pay you to not care that I have this car so that I can ultimately put a license plate on it and drive? But it was wild.
They take money to not care?
Yeah, absolutely. They take money to not
I'm
care.
naive. Okay. That's
Everybody does.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, I mean, they'll let you sell the drugs if you just tell them, how much of it's theirs. But it's So we've been fascinated by the story of that car for a few years, because I had a guy years ago off Instagram just message me saying that it was available and for sale. And, we've always thought that if it transacted exactly as in the circumstance as it is, it's probably a couple $1 million or $3 million, which if I sold everything I owned, I might be close to. So I find it fascinating in that regard, because it is that ultimate holy grail car. But I think it's either buried in Mexico or long ago it sold to somebody who will never tell us that. So
that's a risky business deal. Would you really it sounds like you roll somewhere approximately-ish your net worth, and then you need to find a few million to prep it for sale? ? And then you make a profit, I hope.
Yeah, that's the gamble. Exactly. And that's the kind of play that I've always done. I've done that many times with my net worth into cars, and a lot of them have turned out really handsomely.
You just if DEA's coming after you anyway. You just Thelma Louise that bitch off.
That's it. And make sure you got the GoPros rolling.
You're not getting me or the car.
Wow.
So, I mean, to me, most of what I've done professionally has been out of the motivation to be able to afford the next car. And so it's, I don't really think I'm ever going to find this one, but it's been a fun chase over the last few years. I guess a month or so ago, a guy contacted me claiming that he had found it on the Isle of Man and that it was going to be for sale for about $2 million, and that it was in the like estate of Sir Frank Williams of Williams Racing. And this happens to me because I've been very public about wanting to find the car. It happens to me every few months, but this guy was the most communicative and the most, it seemed reasonable, but he could never come up with pictures. And that's always the thing, is there's no pictures of this car since like 98.
He'd have had so many pictures when he first contacted you. He'd have wanted them. Like he'd be sitting in that bitch.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're a car guy, like there's no way he's not going to pop the hood and like, look.
Right.
I would suck at this business. I was fooled by the picture with the toucan.
They've got huge birds over there in Abu Dhabi. That's the scariest thing about the desert is the toucans. They just swim right up to you, peck you.
Yeah, they fucking. Then I saw the next picture. They stole my Lucky Charm.